song?
No, you gotta be quiet.
I gotta pee. Can I pee quick?
Guys,
This
we're supposed to be quiet right here.
He's not even singing the song.
Oh, there. Scotty doesn't know.
What's this?
This is stream starting soon.
Did you bring us here to fuck?
No, this is how we begin.
You.
Ba-doop strike! What?
What? Was that
Strike.
Jane? Jane got in here too?
Jay got involved. Ba-doop. Thank you, Jane, for that. Was
The
awesome.
Dumb Strike Edition, brought to you by
Midol. Mounts? Did you say mounts?
Man. Have you noticed that anything you don't do with me goes to shit?
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, you get less views, but they're solid.
with Mad Mardigan, Script Doctor, Jane Theory, Chewbacca the Wookiee, and a special appearance by Jefferson Starship.
Gregory.
Ba-doop-ba-doo.
He gets reliable views. That's good.
Yeah, they're reliable. I appreciate that. Wow, he missed his ba-doop-ba-doo.
You make him sound like a salad.
I did not care for the tone in which
If
that
he was
said.
salad dressing, he'd be the ranch. You
He
know?
wouldn't be honey mustard?
No, God no. Too good for that. That honey mustard's too good for that.
Oh, honey mustard's delicious.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought he'd be the hot sauce.
I don't know.
No, I'm not being carried around some woman's purse.
Dump. Thumpty thump.
Hey, remember that George guy that used to come on here?
Rumpty
He said he might come on.
Okay.
He used to come on when he had like 100 subs.
Scotty doesn't know.
Now that he has like 14 million, it's gone.
You can't blame me.
Hey, everybody. I can't blame anybody for not watching. Welcome to Sporking News Podcast, the 3K celebration and 2 strikes down
Strike one.
celebration? Is that right?
Yeah,
Strike
you got
two.
like what, 700 subs in the last week?
It was about 700, 800 subs in the last week.
Yeah.
2 million views.
Yeah, I want that.
Well,
Somebody do
What
that
is,
for me.
and then WM Protections.
We just got another strike.
What the
What?
hell was that?
did that not sound like it came from off screen?
It came
Yeah.
from like behind me.
Because I'm
Great.
awesome.
Do that again.
Don't.
That's another strike.
Dude, that scared the
Jesus.
hell out of me.
But as we now know, that makes Scott a victim.
Yeah.
Ka-ching. Yeah,
My
so if
channel is under attack.
well,
Where's
if
that video?
anybody doesn't
Oh
know,
my god, that should have been a thumbnail.
Yeah.
oh my god, that
Oh,
would have changed
This
the
is what
thumbnail.
you. This is the title, right? My
Okay.
channel is under attack, and then
Grant.
this happened.
Get on
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
Go
maybe
on,
I can
go on,
invite the
sec-
quarter
A
in.
lot
Then
of
dot
people.
gone sexual.
So this is what it is. I received 2 strikes from a Gmail account that thinks they might be part of Warner Brothers, which they're not. I don't believe.
It's
Personally, I don't
David
believe 'cause
Zasloff himself.
it's him. I know, but no one's. I actually tried to email him. It's hard to find his email address, but no one will email me back.
I got a copy of the email right here from David Zasloff. He's like, look, I know you think you're a big thing on TikTok, but you aren't on YouTube.
I deleted
Sorry.
TikTok. You know why?
Yeah,
Because
you
I'm
were a big thing.
American.
Well, one,
America.
we're a big thing on TikTok, and 2, I warned you about TikTok.
You
a
did,
year
like
and a
how many
half
years ago? Well, look, dude, all I want is people to love me.
I'm sorry, but people on TikTok that are a big deal are too woke for Warner Media and Discovery.
Well, all I can say is this. Thank you. That was a
I like
sporking
TikTok.
fact.
You just have to watch what side you're on.
Well, the problem with TikTok, too, is if you're at home, they can enter your network and they can listen and they
I
can
assume they
record.
already have.
Yeah, I mean, they're already here, right?
Isn't
I mean,
TikTok
wasn't that
like,
prison?
owned by China anyway?
Yes.
They're
Well,
totally spying on
we
us.
can't say that. It's China by proxy.
The
China.
U.S. is doing it. Why not the rest of the world?
Because we're American.
We're expected
Okay,
to do
we're
it,
allowed
okay?
to do it, and we do it.
Are we?
That is not. I love people who are like, well, they do it. You know, we do it, so they should do it. Well, we should do
Yeah.
it better.
Well, in
should
America,
do it
the
better,
people
I
that
agree.
listen to it are paid better, and in China, they're slaves, essentially.
And get it right. It's only corporations that listen in to us, like Goggle and
Yeah,
Yoo-hoo.
Yahoo and all the others.
Oh man, big Yahoo.
Big Yahoo
Oh
fan.
yeah. And Bong, they're the worst.
And
Yeah.
AOL.
AOL's making a comeback.
I hope
Get
so.
out your Hotmails.
Dude,
Oh, no.
I'm ready.
Don't forget
I'm ready
Bing.
for Napster.
Bing, yeah. Ask Jeeves.
Oh shit, Ash
Ask
Jeeves.
Jeeves.
Wow, where did you
ICQ.
pull that out of? Good.
Do we, is that still active? Can we check that out?
Ask.com. Go
Yeah,
check it out.
share it. Well, let's see if
You
Ash
got
Jeeves is still
mail.
alive.
I'll just check on my MSN Messenger to see
You
if it
got
is.
mail.
Oh, don't forget, it's a Lycos domain. You gotta,
Lycos, that's right.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
I'm
they
gonna
don't have a
electronic
dark
message
mode.
you guys.
Remember when the whole Warner AOL merger happened? That was funny.
Yes, it was funny.
What happened?
Yeah, they like.
I don't know,
drugged
it's just the
Warner
way you
Brothers
said it made me
down.
laugh.
The AOL merger when.
Warner Brothers and AOL Time Warner Company.
Yes, it
Yeah,
is.
fuck.
Well, let's introduce the panel now that we're 5 minutes, 6 minutes in.
Oh, they can
I-
read our names.
Well, yeah, but I have Jane here, and she makes the place sound smarter. Hi, Jane.
Jane Theory.
Hey.
All
Good to be
right.
here. Hello.
How are you
Sounds.
doing?
Doing good. Doing good.
Fantastic. We also have the dude, Culture Casino. Read your statement, Culture.
Oh,
Could do him like Don Pardo.
And
Culture
explain why you're
Casino.
reading this.
Okay. I want to apologize to everyone that I have alarmed and upset with my past behavior.
You should.
I am committed to doing what's necessary and the necessary work to get back to a healthy, safe, and productive stage in my life.
Thank you. Thank you, Culture Casino.
He's frozen. So while he's frozen, I guess I can do what I need to do. Earlier in the stream, I made insensitive comments regarding blank. Since then, I've had time to reflect, learn, and grow from this incident. I promise to do better, to be better, and to be more aware of other people. Hopefully in time, I can gain back whatever, blah, blah, blah. Truly, I feel, blah, blah, blah. Insert some Bible quote. And I hope to say something positive about whoever you offended. The end. Boom. Nailed it.
You're not talking about culture, are you?
No, I don't know. It's a blank one, man. It's a
Well, I
template
wouldn't-
for
I
whatever.
wouldn't leave it too
That's a
blank.
good
I mean, he
template.
might,
Thank you.
you know.
Cat's still frozen.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he computer died.
It's
Uh-oh.
a new
So
machine.
we'll go on to we'll go on to
Oh,
script
no.
A.
Also starring Matt Mardigan.
Oh, was I supposed to? I thought we went to script.
Yeah.
And Mr. Grant Gregory.
Hello.
Featuring Chris Rock.
It'd be better if it was
Chris
like
Farley and Chris
Chris
Kattan.
And Chris Kattan.
There's a lot of
I'm going to, okay?
It makes me uncomfortable every time.
Tonight's
you play
host, Kermit the Frog.
it. I just keep waiting on somebody to do a Chris Rock impression. I'm like, please don't let it be me. You know,
I'm not real good with Chris Rock.
not me either. I do a good Shannon Sharp. A
I
skip.
don't know who that
A
is.
skip. No
I
one.
don't,
No
I
one
don't even
watches
know
this.
who that is.
Shannon Sharp. He was a tight end for the Denver Broncos for years, and then went to the Baltimore Ravens, where he won a Super Bowl with Ray Lewis in 2000.
And he
Look,
has a
as
tight
soon
end.
as Scott left, he got a super chat.
And that was more useless knowledge from Mad Mardigan.
Thank you. Yeah, and Skip Bayless is a sports cast reporter guy.
Yeah, he
I
has
didn't
bad
do the
takes on
whole-
boxing and MMA. I know
Yeah.
who Skip Bayless is.
And then Shannon's like, Skip, come on now,
Oh.
Skip.
Oh, it's that guy. Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I know
that
who you're
guy.
talking
You know what I'm
about.
talking about? Yeah.
You know, we could all say, just go across the board saying gamer words and see how long it takes for the channel gets taken down. That'd be
Why would
great.
you
Is
do
there a list of gamer words?
No, we just make them up as we go.
Shogun.
Pixel.
That is not a fucking gamer word, culture.
Pixel.
Isn't it pwned? Is pwned a gamer
Oh,
word?
pwned is
Yes,
a gamer
that
word.
is.
Yeah.
Add dick to the end of that, Matt, and you're onto something.
Pixelated?
Pixel dick. I said.
Oh,
dick.
let's see. Other ones.
Teabag
Get
came
good.
up, That's the thing.
Yeah.
This is going down a very uncomfortable road.
In the other version of Teabag,
I just
is-
totally your in your. That's right.
is Snail Trail for the ladies
I'm
Huh?
because they can't teabag.
I am really uncomfortable. Jane, help.
This just
What,
went
Tom
down
started
a
it.
weird trail. Like I meant like really bad stuff about people's moms and racist comments.
Jane, help.
And you're talking about snail trails and shit.
Jane.
You just look at what you did to Jane.
Help.
She's
Dude, I used to
embarrassed to,
get-
be here now, and she can't leave because Scott's not here.
I used to get the best hate mail on the Xbox, man. I got one that just said, "I hope your mother dies." And the one that said, "I'm a potato." It doesn't matter. Not me. Like they're a potato. It was a weird message.
You're hosting the show now, Mad. What are we
Oh,
doing?
am I? I don't have any control over
You're
this.
a spud, or
No, like it gets a message and it said, "quote I am a potato."
Well, this
Who's
is like
the-
a presidency.
Who's the lieutenant? Nobody got promoted.
Well, I don't have control over here because he's
Yeah, but he's
not
next in
using.
line, so he's president.
Lieutenant, because Mad was able to nick Scott's dress with a sword, so he's now in charge. Did anyone watch Rings of Power?
No, why would we
Oh.
watch such a
I
thing?
did.
And somebody please tell me, when did Grant become Taggart from Beverly Hills Cop?
it looks good on him.
That is a good one, yeah. We're gonna highlight these super chats there, Grant.
So
Probably.
you've stolen this house, Axel.
All right, Zombie Box reviews for $2 foreign. Nice. Congrats to Grant and Scott for blowing up. Blowing shit up is what they did. Well done.
Yeah, we joined Al Qaeda. So.
We don't need Scott. Psst.
Now,
Yeah,
and speaking
good.
of well done, Eric K for $5 American, the only dollar. Mr. Grant Gregory was the original model for the Ken doll.
The original
smooth
Kendall
him.
had a moustache, so apparently that's who I am now.
He's smooth in lots of places.
Who would know that? And speaking
Hello.
of
Speaking of smooth
Ken
lots of
dolls,
places.
Tina, I apologize already for him. For $5, yes. Oh no, do we need to raise money for Scott to get another computer? Absolutely not. And Natalie Post.
That's because Mad just wants to keep him off the internet.
Natalie Post person's real arms. Because Scott's not here.
Natalie Port Person's real arms. Huh? That's funny.
Thank you, Natalie. Thank you.
Oh, port person. I thought it was.
Portman. I
Post
got
Navy's
it.
Port Man. Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
just gonna warn everybody. My life sucks right now. This
Oh no,
computer
what
sucks.
happened?
Yeah,
It's a
crackled
brand new
and died.
machine. How
I
the
know
hell-
it's a year old. I don't know. It was a company
Why,
that
do you have a
Vulture told me
warranty?
about.
I have no trouble. This is
Do you have
on
a
YouTube.
warranty?
How's it
Does he have a
dying?
warranty?
I have a 3-year.
Was it Newegg that built it?
No,
It was iPower.
Fix
Yeah, it
that
was-
shit.
I buy power, and they're reputable. They make great machines,
Aw,
and
Thanks,
I,
Machini. I'll need it to fix my machine.
They're not helping their reputation right
all
now.
you need is a power supply, likely.
Yeah. Well, I
Well-
messaged them, and just like
If
Warner
he's got a
Brothers, no one got back to me.
warranty, yeah. I would help you if I was closer, Scott.
Thanks, man. So thank you to everyone that spent money as I'm gone. I really appreciate it. I'll try to stay a little bit, and then when I drop out, you can spend more money.
It's got to dry up now.
Yeah, it is what it is. Hi, Mrs. Flu. Thank you.
Hello, Mrs. Flu.
So, Mad Cheesemo, you're in charge. I am here because
No, we're not on my
I know.
StreamYard.
I have nothing in my private chat now that and I'm scared to open up anything else. So,
Oh, well,
any
you want me to
article?
start-
Why don't we start with the article we talked about, buddy?
We sure can. They're pal.
Don't call me pal, buddy. I ain't your buddy.
No
mate.
problem, Chief.
All right,
All right,
Captain.
got you.
Oh, am I going to read it too? My
They went
God.
head-to-head?
Doing everything. House of the
Dra-
Dragon.
I
Yeah.
don't think they went head to head. They don't seem to be in the same lane.
You're right. They're not. And this article will explain why they're not.
Yes.
House
Even
of the
Paris
Dragon.
Analytics
$50 million
is-
an episode. The other's like what, 4 or 5 million an episode, and the cheaper one's clearly better.
I think they said today House of the Dragon like
that's
averaged out to
racist.
29 million per episode.
And just all I could say is
I can see that from the
spoiler.
pilot.
Spoiler: Rings of Power wins in this article.
That was the average of all
Well,
of them.
even
Well, we don't
Paired
know.
Even Paired Analytics says that She-Hulk is doing better
Thanks,
than House
Soul.
of Dragon.
I wish you could help.
What? House of the
Seriously.
Dragon and Ring of Power?
Why do-
That's not true.
Why do they
I mean,
hate
Rings
House
of Power,
the
that's what I
Dragon?
meant. I keep them all. I mix them all up. I don't watch this shit. They're all the same to me.
Look, to me, House of the Dragon, the first 4 episodes. What episode are we going to be on?
It's not
6?
Lord of the Rings, so it don't matter.
First 4 episodes were fantastic. This last episode, the beginning and the end, but
I meant
the
Lord
middle
of the Rings.
was awesome. So,
I
like,
liked it.
Oh,
I loved it.
The beginning
It's
and
my
the
favorite
end.
one.
I love the
Like-
beginning all the way to the end.
Okay, Damon is like, oh, anyways, we could talk about that on Monday. I
Yeah.
just thought the beginning and the end, like, how did a guy just crush a High Lord's head and go? Then he goes to the old god's site to kill himself, even though he doesn't worry about the old guys because Dorne. But
I
anyways,
mean, even in the books, he got away with seriously injuring him.
yeah, he's a scumbag.
Yeah,
and
well,
I
he,
don't know
he,
how.
he didn't die for days later, though.
Yeah,
Speaking of not dying for days later, super sticker from Zombie Reviews for $10.
Andy, thank you so
It says
much.
number one fan.
Thanks, bro. You're one of the best in zombie box reviews. Please support his channel because Andy's a good dude. Also, cannoli squash. It's cannoli.
Well, let's
Sasquatch.
find out. Let's find out
Yeah, let's do that.
if we'll see who won. House of the Dragons and Ring of Power went head to head, and a clear winner emerged.
Who could it be?
I don't know.
Dun, dun.
Executing a successful prequel is no small feat, ensuring the stakes remain high and the narrative tension taut with an odd. Never seen that word in
I
print.
thought I couldn't read.
Okay, I quit.
Don't be that guy. Come on, you're
I don't be that guy.
yeah. I don't want you.
But
to
when
be
that story is an adaptation with a zealous fandom, the pitfalls increase along with the number of chainsaws to juggle. What are you talking about, dum-dum? It's a task that requires precision, balance, and an unflappable prioritization of the story at hand, as opposed to the story to come that already was.
What?
Okay.
Of
Huh?
the fantasies.
It's
Well,
a fancy
like-
way of saying telling a prequel.
Oh,
Yeah.
gotcha.
They're
Okay.
trying to sound Tolkien by saying a story to come that already was. That's not how it works.
Right. Well, yeah. Well, how would
He's
you have
always
wrote
right.
that sentence,
I
script doctor?
Listen, how
I
would
would
you
have just
written-
said along with number of chainsaws to juggle, and that's basically just keep it right there. That's it. You don't
Yeah.
need to do any more. Anything that.
Well, you're good with words. You should do stuff with scripts for a living.
I know, right?
He's
Of
smart.
Of the fantasies genre, two most recent television adaptations prequels, the Amazon, The Lord of the Rings of Power, and HBO's House of the Dragon. Only one can be said to have managed these obstacles with ease from the start. All.
Let me guess, the one where the author's still involved?
That makes sense.
All while giving a range of viewers an entertaining and thoughtful story in its own right. In one, we're granted access to a dazzling fantasy world whose various threads and themes invite both excitement and reflection. In the other,
Wait, it's entertaining and thoughtful.
yeah. In the other, we're asked to ignore scaffolding and wait patiently for something to happen, all while the adaptation struggles to tease out story from history.
That would be the one we fall asleep on, right?
Yeah,
It
I would
feels
say
like
so.
it, right?
Okay.
That's right, folks. Despite the grievances of early haters who were confused at best and at worst racist.
Wow.
Sure.
Wow.
You
So either
freaking
you were
racist.
dumb or you're a racist. Those are the
We've
two
gone from
things.
trying to sound like Tolkien to sound like a street worm.
Oh God.
And despite the ease with which House of the Dragon lured Game of Thrones defectors back to Westeros,
Westeros. Yeah.
Westeros.
Yeah. Okay. Good try.
Thus far, the Amazon original Ring of Power has proven itself to be a better series than its HBO counterpart.
Who wrote this?
Someone who's on drugs, clearly.
Yeah.
Kim
like
Bell.
I'm worried about
Kim
Kim.
Bell.
Is she being held hostage?
Needs therapy.
Listen, This
Or
line
he?
of
She or he?
the whole in one
They,
we're
them.
granted access, like this, I mean, literally flip it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm really confused. Like, so I'm finding it hard to watch the last episode of Rings of Power. Like, I haven't
gave
got
up
through
after
it.
two.
It's so hard to watch. Like, Rings of Power to me is just like the only part I actually will watch a little bit of is the dwarven scenes, and even that has gotten to be like, what the hell? It's so hard to watch, and it's so gaudy looking and cheap. And then you have like this other world live production, not on like a green screen, not on set. Like they're in actual, different countries trying to make it look real. And
We're not afraid to go outside.
right. It may rain. So what?
Roll with it.
Exactly, man. It looks real. It looks a lived-in world, and I don't know how this person could have gotten this, like, because you don't like. I still don't understand how you can't.
Look,
if you don't like it, you're a hater, and at best, you're just a racist.
Well,
So,
if you don't like it,
uh,
you obviously hate it to a degree, or at least are apathetic about it. But I don't see any logic to jumping to a racist or anything of that nature. That's the thing that I don't get.
Well, look, they're going to break it down like category by category why it is the better show. So let's get started.
I mean, but people hate Galadriel most of all. And they're still racist?
Yes.
Okay.
Rings of well because she's a woman. So
Oh, that counts, I got it, yeah.
All right, so they're gonna.
Sexist, racist, they're interchangeable now. Kind of like
Yeah.
Amber Heard.
Well, they don't mean anything anymore. Just like
They're
Yahtzee.
synonymous.
Yahtzee doesn't mean like you call somebody a Yahtzee, like he's a Yahtzee. Do you realize what that means? Like what those
Yeah, it
people
means I
did.
can't play the game Yahtzee anymore without feeling a certain association to another terrible thing from the Second World War.
Well, they're
What-
white dice with black numbers. Come on, dude. You're a jerk.
whenever
I
I
have black dice with white numbers, so I know.
Oh,
whenever
that's
whenever
even
I see
worse.
someone being accused of it, I'm like, oh, let me go see what he's saying. And 9 out of 10 times, I'm like, yeah, they're right.
Yeah.
So let's find out the fundamental difference in why Rings of Power is the best.
Rings of Power is fundamentally more
They
successful.
They just don't like the audiences. When you start judging content based on your feelings and thoughts about the audience, you should just quit journalism.
Yeah.
Because that's all this is.
You guys are going to love this. Why? Well, as gym teachers and dance instructors are fond of saying, you can't have fun without fundamentals. And while it's true, the two series concern themselves with vastly different ideologies and ethos, they're both, at the end of the day, epic narratives. Unlike Rings of Power, however, House of Dragons has mismanaged some of the most basic and necessary elements of good storytelling, including perhaps most apparently proper pacing.
What?
Um,
I was arguing about the Daily
I
Beast,
think
the
they're
Ringer, and
watching the wrong.
Salon.
I don't think they're associating the titles to the correct shows they're watching, because there's been zero. The pacing in Rings of Power is so slow that there's
Yes.
yet to be a creature that can travel that slow of a speed to compare it by.
Well, maybe they're breaking out. To be very, very clear, House of Dragon isn't boring because it's less sexist and racist than Game of Thrones. What the?
Wait,
Or
what?
because
Wait. What?
to be very, very clear, House of the Dragon isn't boring because it's less sexist and racist than Game of Thrones, or because it has, as one individual attempted to argue, quote, a feminist grooming agenda via bounding into comics.
Wait,
It's-
which one has a grooming agenda?
I don't even know what to say.
I don't even.
Are they saying
Well-
grooming because they were like, okay, so they started off and she was like 15, but by the time,
I think that's referencing the friendship that they chose to sexualize in their commentary of the scene between the
Okay.
two girls.
okay,
It's boring because while there may be many genres and stories out there capable of navigating a slow burn intro, a fantasy prequel about a family with literal fire-breathing dragons isn't one of them.
what?
Uh-huh.
What?
Huh?
That's not a
See, he's the
statement, really.
Well, I didn't realize this until now. Reading articles can actually give you cancer. I'm convinced of it now.
So before we move on, I just want to say a couple things. Zach, what's up, my friend? Demonetize my man. I love you. Cannoli Sasquatch needs just a couple to get to 100. So if you guys can support Cannoli Sasquatch with a like or a subscription, sub, whatever, I'd really appreciate it.
Is that Yeti Cast's alternate channel or something?
I don't know. God, I hope not. Also, Eric K gifted 5 Sporking News memberships, and My Nerdy Home is one of them now. So you're a member. You could always say you've been a member of Sporking News Podcast. So thank you, Eric K. You're the best, man.
The best.
I don't see the pacing. They're not identifying specific scenes or specific incidents or even episodes that they're talking about. They just say it's boring.
What? Maybe.
Tell me
keep
why
going.
you think that way.
But it isn't just that House of Dragons brought us 5 slow, repetitive episodes in a row. It's that Rings of Power brought us
there was a new arc in the story every single episode, a new twist, a new turn.
I mean, they literally jumped
twist
months
and
to
turn.
years. They jumped months to years and gave us a whole new like
Successfully.
world to look at.
A repetitive time jump. It's that Rings of Power brought us a relevant, commanding, visually stunning, structurally sound, and emotionally resonant story. One that speaks as clearly
I have
to
a question.
J.R.R. Yes.
I have a question. You have a man in Numenor in the town square yelling about the elves taking their jobs.
Take my job.
How does this all fit?
Well, that's the relevant part to it.
Okay.
It's contemporary, I guess.
Yes. And emotionally resonant.
Though. It's
I
insane.
can't believe you guys are still watching this shit.
I
stopped after 2.
I literally who's up to date on.
I'm up to date. I saw Galadriel teach the Numenorian new recruits.
Could we
how to
show
go
that?
orc.
Because
Oh
By
God, that was
sneaking them.
terrible.
That was
She left herself open
Brilliant.
multiple times to be stabbed, and not a single other person did it. They just stood there and waited.
It's terrible. It is a lot. It is so bad. That scene is so bad. It actually makes the throne room scene in the terrible Star Wars film look okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's on par with it.
I would say this scene.
okay, so the scene I saw, culture.
I haven't seen it.
What I saw from it, and I only saw what people showed on Twitter so far. It looked like literally a stage performance. It looks like a stage performance, like it should have been.
Spinning's a neat trick.
Well, the whole
Yeah,
thing
an
takes
experienced
place. The
swordsman
whole thing
uses as
takes place
few
in the
moves as
town
possible.
square.
You're right, town square, right?
Oh yeah, all the property damage. That I'm sure all those storefronts were really appreciative of that.
Oh my God, there's a war coming. They got to get ready. to hell with your vegetables.
So tear up the marketplace. Good plan.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Should have made
Destroy
the
one
marketplace
thing
somewhere
that will
else.
feed the very soldiers that we're sending into battle.
What are we even talking about?
Oh my God, elves are immortal. Sure, she's the only
Apparently
one.
they're not, because we just learned in this recent episode that their immortality is fading.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, it can't fade very quickly because in the movies they were all
like 1,500 to like 3,000 years old, 10,000. Like they were crazy age.
Uh-huh.
What are we
talking? You're right.
Do your hand movement script.
But it isn't just that the house. Oh yeah, I read that part.
It's so awesome.
Yep. Notably, while the degree to which an adaptation mirrors its source material is a nonsense measure of success, in comparing these two series, the source material's own source material is relevant. What?
Huh?
What?
I don't even. My brain hurts.
I'll try it again. Notably, while the degree to which an adaptation mirrors its source material is a nonsense measure of success, in comparing these two series, the source material's own source material is relevant.
The source material's own source material is relevant, but actually sticking to the source material is not. Is that what that's saying?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to maintain this position because I don't know what they're talking about. Rings of Power has very little they can draw from, so they're trying to pad it out and fill in the blanks with quote-unquote original content, and it's terrible because their ideas are terrible.
You think that they're trying to say because they had less to work with, it's more impressive because they've had to do more like original
if that's
work?
the argument, it's not.
It's terrible.
It's a terrible one because if they had less to work with, they should be more creative with what they do have to work with. That's how creativity is fostered. you don't just say, okay, I can't use that, so let's just make something up completely on our own. And whether or not it jives with what's established, who cares? Because we just have to occupy time. Like,
Does
that's
anybody
what
have any
Rings of Power
arsenic?
is doing.
I think they're saying it should be influential, but it doesn't have to follow it. But that's not the point. I think my biggest issue with Rings of Power is that it's destructive. Like, if they had created their own alternate story in the universe, that would have been fine. But they haven't done that. They've taken Tolkien's story and shredded it, trashed it, bastardized it.
Small Time Republic says, what about the source material though?
Okay, well, let's move on to the next category.
Oh my God.
Next category.
Thank you.
Rings of Power is literally more epic.
It's literally not. It's literally not.
Terrible, epic in terrible proportions. Yeah.
Wait a minute. Literally?
Literally.
Okay, just checking.
Well,
How is it
granted,
more
the
epic?
books are literal and are from literary areas, and they are epic, so they're epic literary
But
examples.
wouldn't you consider them both epic?
Yeah, but this one is literally more epic.
Yeah, but this one isn't from any literal source, really. It's from Fugazi.
Interesting
Absolutely, Tom.
that the
Which is a
scene with the
source
two
of a
trees-
source, technically.
The
True.
destruction of the two trees was the best scene in this entire show.
Yeah. Actually,
Wasn't it
seeing
in
the
like
trees,
first episode?
Yeah.
yeah, it was like the first like 20 minutes. Seeing the trees, the way they did it was really, I actually thought that was really beautiful, really
It
cool
was.
looking. Like, cause you read about the trees, but seeing them was like, the night and the day of trees, like, was amazing. And then they destroyed him and the show was destroyed from there too. But like, what is the difference between a rock and a boat? You know what I mean?
Well, let's find out. Tolkien drew inspiration from a variety of sources, but the two most at plays in Rings of Power are Norse mythology and the Celtic Book of Invasions.
Celtic book.
Celtic, sorry, I was thinking Boston Celtics.
No, that's fair.
Both
I
of
wanna
these,
go home now.
both of these traditions
Stay in there, Tom. Stick with us.
are, in the truest sense of the word, epic.
Okay, so they're both
This article is
epic.
so dumb.
Okay.
George R. R. Martin's Fire and Blood, on the other hand, and the story House of Dragon focuses on, is a fictional account that folds fantasy into an actual period in 12th century England called the Anarchy.
What?
They're both fucking fiction. What
Yeah, but
the
this
fuck?
but this one is fantasy in an actual period in the 12th century.
Okay,
For
first of all, he has.
fuck's
I don't think he's ever said that. He's never said he picked that exact moment
right.
in
No,
time.
he never did.
But
he
remember, in the 12th century, they had dragons. Thus, it makes sense that that's when it would
Are you
be.
citing Dragonheart as your reference?
Sean
I
Connery.
love Dragonheart. Are you kidding?
This is literally how mass
Love it.
shootings start. I'm just saying.
We're not saying that, Mama Susan.
Nope.
I don't
The-
need
I'm
another
using
strike.
literally like they do in the article, okay?
Yes, literally.
The anarchy? Am I saying that right, or is this
Yeah,
some weird
anarchy.
British? Okay, well, I don't trust you, Scott. I was asking
The
script.
anarchy.
Yeah, I am a terrible
anarchy
reader
is
and
correct.
speller.
Okay, just make sure. The anarchy is undoubtedly a riveting and revealing chapter in English history, but the mere addition of some woefully underutilized dragons in a barely contextualized.
Okay, do they know what the Dance of Dragons is all about?
No.
Underutilized dragons is the most, that is the most asinine backwards statement ever. Like, once they get into the actual dance, it is going to be sick what these dragons go, like the fights. I'm sorry, spoiler.
The other thing too, I think the show is doing a marvelous job of slowly
Yes.
introducing
Yes.
us to each dragon.
And they're
When
like
we even
their
get a
look.
little bit of their personalities.
Yes.
too.
It's almost as if they want there to be stakes instead of just CGI battles. You know
Right,
what I mean?
You want certain dragons to make it. You know what I mean? Like, not just the people. You're gonna be rooting for the dragon
You're making them
themselves.
characters. I love
Yeah.
that.
Absolutely amazing.
What's everything we said is also known as being woefully underutilized.
And by the way, both versions of the story do involve royalty, royal families,
Yes.
politics. All of that's part of it. So, I'm sorry. What difference does it make?
what-
See, Jane, what you don't understand is
'Cause
Rings
he's
of
also
Power.
He's influenced by Greece, he's influenced by Rome, he's influenced by Egypt, he's influenced by a lot of different real world
Yes.
nations and cultures.
And the Odyssey by Homer.
Yep.
Like,
There you go.
The
And the
hero's
Bible.
journey. Yeah, the Bible too.
Well, not only that, like the Odyssey by Homer, we know it was written, but we don't know if the stories are true or not, which is why it's categorized more in mythology than fantasy. And that's a very important distinction, because the concept of mythology is that it could be real, but we don't know.
I think it is.
Whereas
I feel like it's safe to say that some of those stories may not have happened.
Yeah, but Script Doctor, this is more like the
Cyclops?
Odyssey written by Homer Simpson.
Yeah.
well, yes, that would say that's what Rings of Power is.
See, I
Their
thought
whole
Rings of
argument
Power
is
was.
that-
No, go ahead, Jane, please.
No, I was just gonna say their whole argument is that one is better because it's influenced by incidents in history that weren't real. Like that's not you can't
let's
use
find
that as a
out.
judgment.
Well,
That's
no, but what you guys are missing is they made a mistake. Rings of Power is based on 1942 South Chicago. You guys just didn't realize that.
And a barely contextualized, crabby little monster man aren't enough to turn a historical secession story into a screen-worthy fantasy epic. See, that's all they did basically was have underutilized dragons and a crabby little monster.
like
Is
what they said?
Aragorn not a succession story?
Absolutely.
Brother, what
Yeah,
a
but it's
fight it
literally
really
more
was.
epic.
Really was.
Anyone even
Almost like
vaguely
he hasn't read the books.
anyone even vaguely familiar with Plantagenet what?
Plantagenet.
What is that? mean?
Plantagenet.
Yeah, that's the history. Yeah, it's the plantagenetic history. We'll find this series' first few
Can we,
episodes.
excuse me, country of origin? Can you use that in a sentence? What is
Plantagenet?
Genetic.
I can use it in a sentence. Anyone even vaguely familiar with plantagenetic history will find the series' first few.
Which is anybody but
Royal
us.
A royal house?
It's French, I believe. Yeah, it should be French. Or
Here we go again.
So it's Plantagenet. Plantagenet?
So basically, this article is written by somebody who knows a lot of big words but doesn't really know how to use them.
No,
really.
it's somebody
me.
that has that knows how to use
Plantagenet.
word hippo.
Good God, Plantagenet. Let's go.
But why are they calling
Who
this
are
a
you
reboot
yelling
of
at?
reality when this show has literally inserted
Culture's losing
immigration
patience.
into the story?
Say that again, Jane.
Sorry.
Culture
They're
yelled at
calling
me.
House of the Dragon a reboot of reality
Right.
when Rings of Power has inserted today's reality
Ooh,
into the story.
valid
They're talking
point.
about immigration and it just it's almost like she's not even watching the show either. So she's not familiar with the text and she's not familiar with what's actually happening on the screen. They're just making stuff up for the clicks.
So Jane's a racist. That's what we're saying. I'm going to read a couple super chats real quick so we can let this all soak in. Tina Bojan for $5 said, I'd make a larger super chat, but Mad Cheesemo is not paying me enough for loving Andor.
See,
Andor.
I was afraid that she was going to hate it because I actually enjoyed Andor.
I don't know
because it
if
reminds you of Arrow.
I've never watched Arrow.
Yeah, dude, you were
Stealing
digging
that
that.
formula.
Yeah, you're digging that CW show, baby. You keep going with that.
Yeah, I'm trying to get through the first
okay.
episode. Yeah, enjoy what you
Fine.
enjoy.
I just
Yeah.
He likes the
Oh,
OC. Leave him alone.
I do. I do love the OC. Don't you bring that into this?
Yeah,
God.
don't talk bad about the bros of the OC.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, it's about bros.
I was
being
sticking
bros.
up for you, but if you want to take it as an insult,
Oh, I'm sorry.
it's-
Yeah, no, not an insult. I love you, Tom.
Wait a minute. Have you seen that particular piece of media, or at least the trailer yet for
Or
Bros?
at least making excuses, I guess.
Bros.
Oh, we'll just get.
Before hoes.
Kitty Bear Stephen Paul, member for 2 months or 3 months actually at the Oberyn Martell level. Thank you, my friend. Says, hi panel. Tom, did you watch anything of the Imperfects yet?
No.
Me either.
Damn it, Kitty Bear.
What
He,
is
I
that?
look. It's been 2
What is
years
that
of me.
on?
Netflix. It's been 2
Okay.
years of me. Like, hey Tom, you really need to see Old Henry. Finally, he has seen Old Henry.
How was it?
Is that right?
Okay.
It's better than Henry.
George George, the Giant Slayer, Mulhall, for $9.99. Tolkien is mythology, not fiction.
It's George Molo.
No, Mulhall.
Okay.
It's George the Giant
it's
Slayer.
interesting that he says that, but I mean, Tolkien stuff is mythological, but I mean, we do know it's fantasy, so that falls into fiction. So, I mean, the thing is that it's an elevated form. It stood the test of time. It was written. It's the most modern type of mythology we have for.
I think what George is trying to say though is that Tolkien's goal with it was to give England their own mythology.
I mean, they kind of have it out already. He just gave it more.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
you just follow the royal family. They got lots of stories about them that are considered myth.
True.
But they're acting like it doesn't have any real world influence, which is ridiculous because he's specific about that, about the influences and where he got his ideas from and what these things are supposed to mean and their foundation. I mean, yes, it's a mythology, but he didn't make it all up out of thin air.
No, he sourced it on a lot of other things that influenced him, and he also has there's something of a theme of anti-industrialism to a degree.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, that's why the trees are far more important. That's why the forest and the hobbits. Mm-hmm. It's all about not trying to have densely populated, soulless cities in soulless worlds, so to speak.
The destruction of the environment too.
To a degree, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But
pride and
perversion
greed
of the
and
environment. Yeah, perversion.
Fall of man. And
perversion of the environment. Good way of putting it. George also for $19.99. Thank you, George. I appreciate this. All the money tonight will be used in Orlando. So thank you. Not to get my computer fixed. Hail you beautiful bastages. I love you, George. I hope you make it on tonight. You do have a link. And then Soul Assassin for no money, but he is the mod's a mod, so he never has to pay. Said, what happened to the OC bros? We're making a comeback, dude. Episode.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, when we're
what
ready.
What episode are we on?
1 again.
We can start over.
I think we only made it to
again.
well, we only made it to episode 3, so I think we're just going to start all over.
Yeah, we can start over at 1.
Yeah, and Mad Mardigan. So make sure you're subscribed
Back
to
at
Mad
1.
Mardigan. We're going to start the OC Bros again, and we're going to talk OC Bros.
What did I start?
Thank you.
Remember that song? Back at 1 by what's his name?
Closing time. Okay.
Close. This guy was black.
What?
Did you get back to 1?
Are you talking about
Jane? Help me out here.
Oh God.
What? Jane would know this music. She comes from the right
up.
time.
What music?
Back to 1. Remember the song Back to 1?
No.
1.
How does it go? Sing it.
Back to 1, 2. You buckle your shoe. That may
what?
not be
Freddy
right.
Krueger?
No.
What?
Hold on. Back to 1.
That might have been the most racist thing I've ever heard.
Oh, Brian McKnight. Brian McKnight. Back at 1. Back at 1. Yeah.
Oh, 1. You remember him come
Oh, now you know it?
Well, when you said Brian McKnight, I knew. You just kept saying back to 1. I was thinking All for One, the band. I didn't know what you were talking about.
Didn't he also do the song Let Me Teach You How Your Works?
He never peed on anybody, so we're good.
I have
All
no
right.
idea what y'all are talking about.
You don't know Brian McKnight?
Don't listen to him, Jane. He's
I am
being,
so sorry, Jane.
I'm embarrassed for him.
I'm flabbergasted. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Jane. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Thank you, Culture Casino. No, we needed you for that because you bring us back to reality. And reality says House of the Dragons
Mom spaghetti.
Scaffolding.
You're not helping, Mad.
Sorry.
Why did we just do an Eminem show?
I don't know where he's going. I just heard Macklemore today, and I'm really digging him.
Wait, this is the first you ever heard of Macklemore?
No, but I really jammed out to one of his songs today at a.
On purpose?
Yeah, it was all. The dude is talented.
He is talented.
He is. He's very talented. He can spit.
Yeah,
bro.
Mom spaghetti.
You know that feeling when you're on a circus ride or a fair ride? You know, like a roller coaster,
right?
And you just get that gut feeling that it's going to go flying off the rails at any moment. That's what I feel like right now.
Isn't that the dump just summed up pretty much? It could always just go off the rails.
Okay. House of the Dragons.
I'll shut up now on my own show.
Scaffolding is showing.
And I wonder
Source,
why
source material structure, in addition to but different from its subject matter, is also important here. Rings of Power taps a faraway past that's referenced and built upon, just never fully detailed in Tolkien's trilogy. You know, Tolkien, that guy that's known for not really, doing all the
Never
details.
fully detailed.
Yeah, like what Tolkien's known for. He's more of a you get it.
Wait a minute,
He
time
details
out.
everything.
Yeah, and doesn't George R. R. Martin leave like the past completely undetailed? Like we know nothing about the Long Night. We know nothing about
No, it was long.
Valeria really. Yeah, that's all we know. It was long. We barely
Everything's
know.
mysterious.
Seriously, the
It
Empire of the
could be long
Dawn.
by 1 more hour. That's why it could be the long night. We don't know.
Yeah, I mean, unlike the
Yeah, the
show,
7-hour
it
night
lasted
was
a long
11.
time. All we knew was generations, and then maybe some dude named Azor Ahai or some last hero or somebody else stopped it. That's all we know, and we don't know how.
Rings of Power is detailed darn near to the day. I don't know what he's talking about. What she's
Unbelievable.
talking about.
House of the Dragon, by contrast, cobbles together scenes and story from a fictional historical reference book, not a novel. Thus, the writers must
Which is
pick
more
and
impressive,
choose.
honestly.
The writers must pick and choose which vague allusions to events they'll highlight and flesh out, and how they'll use those events to speak to something greater than the straightforward story at hand.
So, what House of the Dragon decided to do, and you can either back me up or tell me I'm wrong on this, Shane, is that the unreliable narrator is the books. The books take from different sources and tell you what, Mushroom might say one thing, but the Grand Maester might say something different. And it's usually opposite views. And we never know the truth in Fire and Blood. But in House of the Dragon, we were told that this is the actual truth.
Yes.
This is no longer unreliable narrative. We're actually getting the history. So, this person doesn't watch either show, I don't think.
They don't. It doesn't sound like it.
Yeah, Kim?
They really don't, because I think they're assuming that Rings of Power is drawing from everything Tolkien and is not doing anything with it, or is doing all these interesting things with it. But it's the exact opposite. They don't have much of anything to draw upon.
Right.
And House of the Dragon actually has a great deal to draw upon for their show.
And it's been changed so many times, like in the original main books. So the main books that talk about, King Robert and everybody, those main books actually have been changed the story of from, like, at first it was a fight between a brother and sister.
Brother and sister, yeah. It was Daemon. They were directly blood related as brother and sister.
Absolutely,
And,
a year apart.
Yeah.
She was 1 year older. Now they're half brother and sister, where the best friend became, and that keeps changing. Then you got the princess and the queen, that change in Fire and Blood. Like, it's so unreliable that it's amazing that they're pulling from a little bit of everything, actually, and
It's similar
actually
to real stories and how they're conveyed.
Yeah,
from
Ryan,
orally from time to time. Yeah.
Exactly.
well, I don't know about you, but Ryan Condal, like, he's actually making decisions, like, with the idea, spoiler for the last episode of House of the Dragons, 3, 2, 1, having Daemon at the beginning do that to the wife, like, that is not in the books. In the books, it takes her 3 days to die, and she never says anybody did anything to her. So, like, he changed it completely because he felt like it was fishy.
He did, but remember, we didn't see her die in that scene. So he could have bashed her head on the rock as if she had fallen, and they just found her there. And she did survive a little bit.
No, Jane, he just gave her a nice pointy pillow. That was all.
She likes pointy pillows. Yeah, so...
And he was cloaked, so it aligns with the idea that maybe people didn't see him there. They thought he was somewhere else because that was the narrative.
All
he
the
was
dragons.
in the Stepstones.
And we'll go on.
I think Kitty Bear he says it perfectly. Just flip the names of the shows and this article would make sense.
Yep.
Yeah.
Keep going, though. It's fun. 62 people watching. Thank you, everybody. Make sure you like, share, comment, and make sure you check out other YouTubers.
Yeah. Well, and also, this channel is under attack.
Yep.
This
Please.
channel.
Then this happened.
How many strikes do I have?
Two.
2. I have 2 strikes, everybody. One more strike and Sporking News Podcast is gone. So tweet YouTube and that's awesome. With the booger, you son of a bitch.
Best part.
This is the best part. You know what? That's why I'm under attack.
Me?
On this
No,
last point,
Yeah.
No, big Kleenex.
Take a
on
breath,
stream.
Mad. Take a breath.
on this last point, House of the Dragon struggles while Rings of Power speaks with ease to a number of universal fears and questions, conflicts, and existential dilemmas.
Such as?
Yeah.
Moving on. In other words, in the Tolkien adaptation, fantasy serves and informs reality, not the other way around.
What?
That makes it about as much any line from the
You're breaking up, buddy.
To date, the HBO prequel is kind of a didactic.
We all know what that means.
Yep. Pastiche collage.
Let Script Doctor read the couple
I've been
words.
trying to get somebody else to read.
Just read those words, Script.
To date, the HBO prequel is kind of a didactic pastiche collage hybrid rather than an interesting, tension-filled story that prompts interpretation and thought.
And thought. I knew that
I
word.
know those words even.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Well, I mean, I know them in my head, just
I
not
don't
in
know
my
what
mouth.
that means. I personally don't. Didactic and Louis Pasteur, I don't know what those mean. What does that mean, the great Script Doctor?
Well, she's using it in a word salad form.
Okay.
I
I was about to say something. I'm sorry. All right, go ahead.
mean, you can't really decipher what she's trying to get
Well,
at here. 'Cause it's-
for one, I can say the pastiche collage hybrid is bullshit because it's based on a book by the guy or George R.R. Martin who wrote the shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's not a fucking pastiche.
And for the people out there that does, not me, but the others that don't know what pastiche means.
Okay, a pastiche should basically mean if somebody else did it.
If somebody else did it. That's what I was
Right.
going to say.
Yeah.
And didactic for the slow people in the chat. Not everybody, but just one or two. Like, I don't know. Yeah.
well, it's supposed to be like a manner of teaching.
Yeah, it's through like morals and principles and that sort of
Yeah.
stuff.
Okay. So, like I said, morals and
Preachy,
principles.
it might
Right.
mean here in
Right.
a way.
It may be preachy. Okay.
We're given flashes of action and semi-climax here and there, but they
Sorry,
feel
you're
like
Wait a minute. There's climaxes in this show?
No, like you, semi-climax.
Oh.
But
Right.
what is that, pre-cum? But they feel, thanks in part to the series' awkward
That snail
pace
trail we started the show with.
over.
I love you, culture.
Tacked on.
Are you okay?
Yeah, tacked on incongruous
Broke
and
men.
or I was about to say some bad.
Ornamental.
Were you about to say the other word for that? Oh, were you going to say a rug? Was that what you were about to say? Yeah, that's messed up.
As viewers, I stopped myself. As viewers, we're far too aware of the writer's forced attempts to connect and fill in the historical dots, and the fact that we're presented with no fewer than 3 nearly identical exchanges between both young female protagonists and their fathers, for a sum total of 6 identically intentioned conversations.
What?
What?
I don't
That's
even
enough
know what.
that- In
Please,
House of the
Script.
Dragon, there's 3 sets of fathers and daughters with having the same conversation. Is that what she's implying?
Culture, do you know?
I can think of 2.
That's what
Yeah.
That's what this writer is saying, but I don't. They're not. They're not actually putting out any.
Mark will know. Mark will know what that
Hi.
means. Hi, Mark.
Hey,
Well, hello,
Hi.
everybody. What's going
up?
down?
Hey,
What's
Mark.
happening,
They're
baby?
not putting out any actual examples, is what I was trying to say.
Hello.
Yeah.
Mark.
Back me
Yeah.
up. Brian McKnight, pretty good artist.
Wow.
Brian McKnight. Didn't he used to beat his wife at some point?
Oh shit.
I think he did. I mean, allegedly.
Scott was the one that was a fan. He liked back to
My mind is telling me no, but my body is telling me yes.
That's the other guy.
Yeah, that's the
I
one
know.
that pees.
I was just throwing more out there.
I
because
am
we're
on
off
your
the rails
booty.
already, buddy.
I love that song, Mark.
Feeling on your
We're
booty,
so
right?
off the rails already.
All I know is Snowdub for $2 restitution for puppet abuse a couple weeks ago. I was on his show with all puppets, and they were really mean to me. So thank you for paying me $2. I want $2 a
We've
week
been-
for the next year.
We've been
Puppet
reading
was
this
mean to
article
you?
for almost an hour now.
Have we?
Real quick, because I got to get going soon. Mark,
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, I fell asleep 3 times.
Mark,
happening now?
I did a video. I didn't release it or anything of the She-Hulk twerking, but with R. Kelly's booty song in it. With the booty. Mark,
should
Why
Why
didn't you put it
You're
out?
wondering,
Yeah,
you're
put it
wondering
out.
why
Yeah.
you can't get monetized.
I never put it out.
All right, do me a favor. Let's just hit the next couple topics and let's finish this before you leave. So, what are the next?
Well, that wouldn't be
topics?
very common with the format of this show. We're supposed to stick
No.
on this for at least another 45 minutes.
That is true. Shit. What am I talking
HBO
about?
doesn't trust us anymore, and it shows. Basically, this one is like, it doesn't trust you to understand things.
Are
Like,
you kidding me?
it has to spell things out. Well, now, okay, the whole
There
green.
is
You know
a
what
whole
green
chat.
means? Green means
Hello,
that
chat.
they're going to war.
How many times do we have to be told that Galadriel won't stop fighting?
Right.
Even from Galadriel.
Right. And you know
You know
what?
what
The
they
green.
You
don't
ain't
understand-
seen what she's seen.
Jane, there is a tempest in her.
What they don't understand is that Rings of Power's characters suck. You should, it comes down to the characters. You want to be able to spend time with them, to get to know them, to love to hate them. You feel nothing for these characters. We already have breakout stars on House of the Dragon. Everybody loves Millie. Everybody loves Damon. You know,
Yep.
you don't feel anything for these.
Everyone
people. You
loves
just
the
want
other
them
one.
to
But I
die.
can't remember her name of.
Yeah. No, you're
Yeah.
right. Zombie Bucks reviews for £2 wants Mad to know don't do Orion. You're better than that, man. Talking about the rug, I think. So listen, what they're going to try to say here is that, and yes, there are a couple instances in House of the Dragon where like it's almost like two different writing groups, like where what color is the fires, green when they call their banners. They didn't even have to put that in. And I actually, Mr. Grant, we re-edited a short that they hit me for a strike with, but that we left that out because it would have worked better. It would have allowed us. But there are scenes when they're on the boat in the last episode where the king is puking over the edge and the princess is flirting with Sir Cole and like someone calls her name and she makes it look like she trips. That's why she's holding her arm. They don't spell it out that she's flirting with him. They let us like realize that, and it's subtle and it's really, really good.
But you know what? Those guys, for dumb normies like me, I needed them to spell it out with that whole green dress thing.
Right.
Because, the music was going crazy. She's walking in and I'm like, so?
Right.
It wasn't until the guy leaned over and said it. I was
Well,
like,
no, what I was saying,
okay.
Mark, though, is if he just went like this, what color the high tower burns when they call their banners, and they don't tell you to war, and they don't tell you green, but then they go back and just show her on the dress, you would have known green. That's like what I'm trying to say. But you know what? Every show does it a little bit. Rings of Power does it every effing scene, man. Every scene they
but
tell
Scott,
us.
how were you supposed to know that there was a hole unless they showed the hole, he threw something in the hole, and then told you it was a hole?
Right. That's true. That's true. It's so stupid.
Galadriel really should have gotten naked by now. I mean, honestly, that's not even me being sexist. I mean, are you trying to sell this thing or what? You know what I mean?
They've been
Yeah.
showing her in a nightgown the whole time.
Yeah, but you got to commit to it. I want ass in the air. I mean, you know how they do in, House of the Dragon. Everybody's got to do something. They got to take one for the team. And she's just walking around talking about peekaboo,
Dude,
And
she never sits down. Have you noticed that? She's always standing.
Because she has to command the room. She's a girl
I mean,
boss.
technically she did beat off multiple men with both hands, but with swords.
Like actual swords.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay. It's
That was
horrible.
crazy.
Like I don't even understand. Like this person, I feel like is literally what Kitty Bear said. They literally wrote this in reverse. Everything they're saying is reverse.
It's trolling.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a waste of time.
It feels almost as if like they wrote it and like, okay, we'll see who pays us the big bucks to back their product. Oh, okay, Amazon did it. So then, enter the blanks.
We
Right.
just control Fs. We place Game
Yep.
of Thrones with Rings of Power, and Rings of Power with Game of Thrones.
It done.
Boom.
Yeah.
Get that money.
And what about the hardfoots, man, or whatever they are, the hardfoots or whatever? They're just so annoying.
Yeah.
Every last
They're
one of
evil.
them.
They're terrible.
I
Like
don't
you're
give
gonna
a damn
die.
what
Let's
they're
make fun of
doing.
you.
Right.
I just this
And they
it's-
get dirtier every episode. Like they put straw in their hair or something in the last episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, they literally look like they stink. You know they do.
Yeah.
Ugh.
This is great, Nikki. Galadriel, Alphas Mirandus, commander of the Northern Armies, sister to a dead, not dead brother, Karen of your local Walmart, and she will have her revenge. That's fantastic.
Cuts in line at the self-checkout counter.
Yeah. Oh my God. Did you see that one?
I saw
Yeah.
that.
That was crazy. All right, Mads.
So you gotta take off.
Yeah,
Matt?
Mads,
Yeah,
you gotta
yeah.
get going.
I do got to get going. I wish I could stay longer, but I have another obligation I gotta get to. But I give you the article in the back if you want to finish it. There's only like 8 more categories that Rings of Power stomps it.
8
But,
more? Holy
No, I don't know. Anyway, it's been a lot of fun, guys.
Thank you, brother.
Jane, always a pleasure. Mark, you're
Drop
awesome.
that video, baby.
I will. And everybody else, yeah, you're here too. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Later.
No, thank you for celebrating my 3K. Oh, he didn't say that. Okay. Thanks, man.
Yeah, congratulations about that, brother.
Oh, thanks, buddy. The only reason I'm doing
Absolutely.
it is because I got 2 strikes. So I thought, why won't we celebrate 3K with 2 strikes?
You got strikes for doing something that
Everybody's
literally
doing.
everybody else is doing.
Yeah,
No sense at
it's
all.
bullshit, man. The Gmail account that Warner Brothers attacked me with, like, I'm gonna fight it. I just want to make sure I write, because when you fight this, you literally have to give them your home address, your phone number, your email address, everything, and then that person can contact you about it. Like, I am a little weary about some random Gmail account that won't return an email to me, like having all my personal info. Like, should I give them my social too while I'm at it, YouTube? Why not?
You know what? That's the conspiracy theorist in you.
Yeah.
And I respect it.
Oh no,
bro.
but he's
Thank you,
not
brother.
wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a certain amount
Yeah.
of fear there because you are handing over a lot of personal data to a
Mhm.
Russian hacker.
Yeah.
Someone
I
may
mean-
have
Yes.
not vetted. They don't know who it is.
And YouTube
Yep.
will not, even though I've tweeted YouTube and they've responded with their corporate mantra, like they
Yeah.
won't listen. Like, look at this account. This account is actually a Russian
Yeah,
account that goes
it's-
after small
it's-
channels.
It's illegitimate. Yeah.
Yes, I was growing pretty quick. too.
and they are literally throwing you to the wolves. That's like the thing. It's like, but anyway,
Yeah.
You just tweet out that email, that fake email, that wmproductions@gmail.com. Tweet it out, be like, this is the hacker that's trying to break into my
I did.
channel. Did you? Because I didn't see it on any thread.
I sent the email to, I asked Warner Brothers and YouTube who this email is, because this is the person that attacked me.
Oh, so you added them?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's probably why I didn't see it. I don't really see many tweets when people add others.
Oh, gotcha.
I don't know
Yeah.
why.
You know what though? 3K, baby. Woo! I was about to think I was going to get to 5K before Halloween, but thank you, Russian bot.
You get there, man.
We will. We all will.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you're
Oh,
all
yeah.
already
Like 5
there.
more
mostly,
my
but-
channel's under attack videos. That should give you some traction.
You know what? My next video will be my channel's under attack.
I just made you a thumbnail.
Yeah,
You
wait a
better
minute.
use
Show it again.
I can't. I'm
Oh.
not Grant. Grant can.
Brent's not here. Oh wait, yeah, yes. He's. Oh, wait.
Oh.
Such a messed up goddamn. I hate you guys. All right. Are we going to finish this article? Should we finish this article?
That's still the best thumbnail I think I've ever made.
I can't even hide it anymore. It's Grant.
So they're
completely
actually
in
trying
control.
to convince people that Rings of Power is better
Yeah.
than House of the Dragon.
So culture.
Some weird hypnosis.
Yes.
Do you mind
Yes.
sharing that article in the private chat? The Lord of the Rings one?
There's an article?
Yeah, the Looper one.
I'll
We're gonna
give you
finish it.
$20 not to finish it.
Oh, okay. I'm going to take the $20.
Oh,
And
what
he
about
already
the
owes
Nerd
me
Cookies
$20
one?
from the bounced check, so.
We could do the Nerd Cookies one.
We
Are
can
you
do
getting paid for this, Tom?
Oh shit, I'm not supposed to
What
tell
the
him.
hell?
Yeah,
that.
dude, come on.
People stuff.
No, he's not getting paid. We're
People are
really
getting
good
paid?
friends.
God, where
No.
were we?
Hell,
No, we're all good
Scaffolding
friends. Everybody likes me.
Doesn't trust us. Where
That's what
were
my
we?
mom
Jesus,
told me.
man.
We Rings of Power made smart sacrifices. Is that where we were?
I was told if you're good at doing something, never do it for free.
Wait a minute. This is not the article.
What? Yeah, it
Is
was.
it- oh, yeah, you're right. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought that
You're
was
in
the title.
night mode.
Yes, you are correct. You are correct. Night mode's awesome.
Yeah, I don't do anything else without this now because I like to be able to see things.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. We did talk about HBO not trusting
didn't
us.
Trust you, yeah. Except that's not true. Oh wait. Oh shit. I'm sorry. I said a bad word. I don't say bad words.
Yeah, you
No, you
just
say
did.
tons of bad words,
Well, not
especially
true.
after like 9 p.m. Eastern.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's
that
when I
kid
say
looks
bad
like
words.
Michael Jackson's son, Blanket.
He really does, doesn't he?
Yeah,
think that's
it's
Blanket?
blank. It's totally blanket.
What's his real name? Like Paris?
No, there is a Paris is the girl. Blanket is the son, one of the sons.
That's not really his name. His name's not Blanket. It's something else.
I think it's
thought-
Michael
Will.
Jr. the third or whatever.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Very
It
strange.
does kind of look like blanket.
There's like
It
Prince.
does.
I think it's actually Prince, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, you know what? You're right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or is it the other kid? I don't know.
There's
I don't
Prince
know.
Michael, and then I think there's Michael Jackson Jr. And then I can't remember. I'd have to look. And then Paris
Yeah.
is a girl. Yeah.
So
Mhm.
Rings of Power made smart sacrifices. Oh, really? Like to what god?
Oh yeah.
Um,
Well, these
you
might
mean
be
sacrificing
spoilers,
its
everybody. It might be spoilers, so be prepared.
In early criticism, learn how to write, of Rings of Power was that it didn't do enough explaining. What? One collider article
got some splaining to do.
There you go.
Babaloo.
Babaloo. Thank you. One Collider article notes that, by the way, we're really old. People are not going to know that's I Love
Single
Lucy.
source.
I
right?
know.
One Collider article notes that the Rings of Power doesn't take the time to re-explain the significance of what's going on.
What?
The sailing to Valinor and Sauron's symbol are characterized as important, but not fleshed out in detail.
Correct.
From a storytelling perspective, this is a good thing,
No.
as it
Why is that?
Go ahead, script.
It's called building a foundation to your setting. You don't have to be so blatantly obvious about how you provide the exposition, but it needs to be part of the cause and effect aspects of storytelling. So if you're going to
Very
introduce
good.
a character like
Absolutely.
Sauron and that he's evil, you need to show us that who he is and that he's evil and how evil he is and how much of a threat he is. So that when he's defeated and there's rumor of him coming back, we as an audience completely understand how much of a threat that could be.
You realize when we get to this bottom of the article and this guy says, "I'm kidding," I'm going to kill you.
Oh, it'd be awesome if it is, though.
That would be so in line with this show.
Remember,
Okay.
Matt did find the article, so it's quite possible.
go. All right. Well, he's close enough. I could. Yeah. Anyway. All right. That's a good thing. All right. As it imbues the narrative with an intrigue, with an intrigue sorely lacking in the House of Dragons. This guy is smoking weed. Moreover, by the end of episode 2, the implied meaning is pretty readily apparent, and are there really viewers out there who see a pitchfork-esque symbol glowing red with fire and accompanied by ominous metallic resonance and think Sauron is a good guy? Most of the people watching the show know the lore. You don't know the lore.
Anyone who doesn't know
ridiculous.
the lore knows Sauron is bad, but doesn't know why.
That's right.
That's the problem. You need the why.
Well,
And they're not helping.
they didn't help at all with the beginning of the show. But anyway, the article
That's
goes
something
on.
is enough for the audience. That's what these Amazon writers are saying.
Well, it comes down to frame of reference, right? Script. I mean, God good, devil bad. We get that, right? That frame of reference exists universally. But when you're talking about these types of things as somebody that's new to this, which I'm going to tell you, I don't think there's a lot of people new to Lord of the Rings.
Have they
no.
introduced that in this story though? Like, have they introduced God?
Oh no, I was using that as a
Yeah,
No.
doesn't the devil punish sinners? Isn't that in the favor of what God does?
again imperfect analogy, but still, forget it. I was just trying to show you using a frame of reference is the point. But
I
anyway.
apologize for Culture Casino.
Yeah, me too. Fudge. I'm not talking anymore. I'm just
But I
gonna
mean,
leave.
no, I think the point I was trying to make was that in the show, they're not establishing the sides.
Boom.
Yeah, there's
It's
no
just-
status game at all.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, which is what I just said. You need a frame. You know, I don't care. Anyway,
Sporking fact.
yeah, whatever. So, okay. So the article goes on to say that viewers will have to pay close attention to the series opening sequence if they're to understand and fully appreciate the plot. Fair enough. But If we've reached an era in television wherein having to pay attention is a negative, then perhaps Morgoth has already won.
Oh, you see how they did that? They threw Morgoth in there. Oh, this guy is
Morgoth isn't
awesome.
in this.
I know, but in this article,
Literally already defeated.
yeah,
You gotta move the story along. I fell asleep several times. I mean, there's no getting around that. Whatever they were doing, it was boring.
I still haven't finished episode, not this past one, the one before it. I just can't get through it.
Yeah.
Well, yes, there's a fair bit of Tolkien mythology that Rings of Power necessarily sacrifices. Oh!
Fair bit.
Fair bit. That's
Necessarily?
Sacrifices.
Necessarily, yes. It has to. Come
Because
on,
then they
guys.
have the rights to explore it.
There you go, sir.
Right.
There you go. They don't have the rights.
Here's the bullshit excuse.
Whoa.
But for the viewer less familiar with that mythology, it's a negligible loss.
Oh my God, you're losing the true.
Still playing to the normies.
If it was a well-written show, it would be a negligible loss, but it's not a well-written show. That's the caveat.
Only fans with a strong grasp of all that history will be aware of its absence. You mean Tolkien fans, which make up
Who cares
90%
about them?
of this audience?
You mean the reason why you decided to buy it in the first place?
Right.
Yeah.
To bastardize the name, and destroy the man's legacy. Yeah, that's why you bought it.
Because he's problematic.
He is horrible human being.
And this is even worse. And since they already have a strong grasp on all that history, it hardly seems necessary use of the series' establishing episodes.
Oh my God! Then don't call it Lord of the Rings.
Exactly.
Heck,
Why
It's
bother?
not even really a show that's about Rings of Power either. It's nothing. Its title has no connection to what's happening on the screen.
Yeah.
But we know why they call it Lord of the Rings. We know that. See, that's what they're all doing. They buy a property that we all loved, realizing they could do whatever they want to it and just call us, racist or, prejudice against the change. And the truth is they're buying it for the name recognition because even if you're not a Lord of the Rings fan and you never read the books or even saw the Peter Jackson, everyone has heard of Lord of the Rings. Everybody. So they'll be like, oh, I'll give this. It's on Amazon. I'll totally give this a chance.
I find it interesting that they titled this section House of Dragon Lacks the Joy of Rings of Power and then include a screenshot of the Harfoots who leave people behind.
Yeah,
yes,
no joy.
Or injured or old.
Yes, and laugh about it until they lament it later.
Yeah.
I look, that's where I tapped out officially. I'm done. You all can keep watching this show and you can view it and you can get a billion views about that night. That's wonderful. I can't do it.
I would take.
I'm just thinking somebody's going to get naked. I mean, I keep going back to that, but it's got to happen. I'm just wondering when it's going to happen.
Well, they did have the intimacy coordinator, so you're.
Well, and
you have a valid point. It's going to be a dude.
And they gave people who like people way too young opportunities to see through a sheer dress in the sunlight.
Yeah,
that was cringe.
Show. That was very cringe. But don't worry, because all they're going to show us is dude butt. You know it.
They may show you the dirty little hobbits.
Oh God!
I have no interest in those either.
Maybe we'll get Disa.
There is
we'll get Disa naked.
She showed you some thigh.
Actually,
I saw that. Lizzo would be proud.
Look, I have no complaints about Disa, but
Yeah, but anyway. I do. She's running she is like the leader when you have an elf behind her that's been alive for 1,500 years and actually has military experience.
You're thinking about Muriel.
Wait a minute, which one?
You're talking about Muriel.
Who's Muriel?
The Queen Regent.
No. I'm talking about the girl in the tower right now. The one that, made herbs.
Huh?
Isn't she running the show, but the elf is there?
Is this article as long as it looks like?
I believe so.
It is.
I believe so.
Why are we
talking about the door?
They're really trying it. Look at all these words. Wow.
Can we just hit the topics?
Okay.
There are more words in this article than in the script. Yes.
Yeah. Let's just hit the topics. Just read the top one, and we'll make something up.
This is not an article. This is a fucking thesis or something.
It really is. It's terrible. It's terrible.
Yeah.
I'm to the point where if we don't move on to something else, I'm just gonna because I have nothing to say anymore.
Nothing, man.
Yeah.
I don't think
Nothing personal. It's just I have nothing to add here.
The show sucks. They spent like $1 billion on a show that sucks. And they're having a hard time admitting it.
Truly.
Everybody hates your show. I know you're watching. Your show is shit. We hate it. you wasted your money. It's
I watched
boring.
20 minutes.
Everybody
That was
knows.
it.
Yes.
I got another one for you there, Mr. Casino. Because I think this one's something that I find very interesting, about Disney and their investors. And I don't know if that's something you guys would find interesting, but they're pushing back. And I think that's important. They're finally pushing back because they're realizing you go woke, you go broke. So we could talk about that. Is anybody up for that? Yeah.
Well,
Did you guys mention Andor yet?
Could we talk about Andor while we're getting that article up? Because I had a problem trying to actually get through the first episode.
If they had released that first episode on its own,
okay,
that would have been awful. That first episode was just nothing, literally nothing.
Okay, so does it get better after that?
No. However, it was a lot more nothing. You know what I'm saying? So,
okay, I got you.
Yeah. No, I say by the third episode, you saw a little something starting to happen. The only problem is you still don't care. I mean, once again, the character, the man, you don't want to know him. You don't want to hang out with him. He's just not fun to watch for me.
He just seems so miserable. Like, and it's, I did find it interesting that they're not letting you understand what the kids are talking about, and you actually have to just watch the scene. That was one of the more interesting things, even though I didn't really care, but it was interesting. Like, okay, I got to pay attention to what these kids are doing to understand what they're trying to show me. I thought that was actually a smart move on their behalf, but I just couldn't get into the actual, like, I don't care what happens to him.
Yeah.
I felt like episode 3 was better. It's just the problem I have is that it's so incredibly dark. Like, it's gone way, to me, in opposite direction from what Star Wars should be.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I just don't like that part of it. Had it been anything else,
right,
not attached to that name, it would be fine.
Well, again, Jane.
See, I agree with Jane to a point, but I also didn't hate it. Like, I liked it, but at the same time, I hate to turn around and say, well, it's bad that it's not like Star Wars, because I also don't want them to feel like they shouldn't take chances with these series, because that's what these series should kind of be. Now, at the same time, there's some definite issues I have with it. The pacing is a problem. You could have definitely cut these 3 episodes into a 45-minute pilot. I've said that a couple times now. There's quite a few other things I could get into, but of all the things that we've seen out of Star Wars so far, this felt like it had the most thought put into it. Some of the best writing, regardless of how much of a slow burn it is. But at the same time, that's not a very high fucking bar. Right. That's the problem we have here. Yeah.
Like, they took it way too seriously when they said they just wanted to show what the people are like on the ground. You know what I mean? The only thing that was missing was Andor sitting on a toilet, bro. It's like, that's how, like, mundane, just boring it was. It's like, you know, you watch Luke Skywalker to see epic adventure, something larger than life. Yeah. It's like, I don't want to see people coming out from work the way I do.
Right.
You know? Good morning, Ralph. Hey, Sam. It's like, this is what we're watching. This is not Star Wars. It could be something else and it could be entertaining, but this is not Star Wars. It's not. And people act like somehow it's acceptable for people to get away from the Jedi and the Sith. Oh, we've seen enough of them. You barely scratched the surface of that mythology.
Right.
Yeah, bring Lord Callus on and ask him.
Has proved that.
Yeah.
The EU has proved that. There's so many more stories to tell, so much more potential. But no, we got to watch this guy walking through the streets.
Who it's again a prequel because we already know what happens to him. And I'm a fan of Rogue One. I thought Rogue One was a decent.
I like Rogue One.
I do too. I actually liked Rogue One because it surprised me. I was like, why do I want to care about this? And I actually was like, oh, maybe they'll make it. No, they didn't. You know,
but
like,
they opened Rogue One with a little bit of the fantasy of Star Wars. Like, I think people forget that that's part of it, and they're trying to make it so real, so day to day, so relatable, or whatever. I don't want that. I want escapism.
No. Absolutely. And I just want to say thank you, Big Raj, as usual. Thanks for the thumbs up, my friend. Every time. Good time. Man. Big supporter. Thank you, man. Yeah. So I'm sorry I couldn't get through it. It doesn't mean I'm not going to watch it. that first episode, like it was like they start off with that, like, you know, the scene with the guards, and then it's just going to work, covering it up, going to work. Somebody, you know, a guy told not to investigate it, investigates it. Like, it's a story.
Did I miss why he had to assassinate that man in the beginning of the show? Like, I understand that he wasn't a good person.
They said that he was trying to
knees.
blackmail him or something.
Oh, that's a good reason to shoot him point blank in the head?
That's what I said. Like, people are justifying with it. I'm like, that's not a reason to kill somebody who's begging you not to kill them.
What I got from
it showed him going for his waist, you know, something in his waist a little bit.
I disagree.
That's not what your hero should do, man. It's just not.
Exactly, but he's not a hero. He's not a hero.
Okay, but he's now he's a killer.
Yeah, exactly. What he did was
he's a killer for killing without a good reason to kill.
That guy was going to totally not turn him in,
and that's what I thought. He told him that. Yeah,
he's totally not going to turn him in.
He had to kill him. He had to kill him.
Yeah, just had to.
He by accident killed the other guy
in a different IP.
I'm being sarcastic. There's no way that guy wasn't going to fucking turn him in.
And that's why he killed him. That's
the first one was an accident. The second
could have been handled. It could have been handled better, bro.
No, but what I think the first guy he killed was an accident. Realizing that accident happened, the guy's like, "Oh, I'll go in with you." Well, he knew he was gonna die if that guy was alive.
Okay,
yeah, because they're totally gonna treat him fair. Exactly. Yeah.
And not only that, they tried to kill the police. All the police were trying to do was serve a warrant for a murder he committed.
Oh, wait a minute. Am I missing something?
Yeah, he established himself as the bad guy. That's what he did. Yep. It's like in the past, what you would see is he doesn't want to get ratted out. I mean, what was the fun of Return of the Jedi? Remember, Han, Luke, and Leia were going to get ratted out by the stormtroopers that were on the bikes and everything. So we had a nice little, fun little chase scene.
Yeah,
it's like this dude, he pulls out a gun and shoots an unarmed man on his knees, point blank in the head. Bro, this is not Star Wars. That's my point.
And I agree with you.
You could do this in a different show, but this is what we're accepting as Star Wars.
Like, he should have tried to be like
it because so many people enjoyed Rogue One, and what did Cassian Andor do in that? He shot his friend point blank in the alley because he's hurt.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why they did it here. And I'm sorry, exactly. no respect for that, bro.
Oh, I agree
Rogue
with
One's
you.
A terrible film. I mean, people love it for Darth Vader at the end, but I challenge you to say prove that's really Darth Vader, because he would never go that far to do anything that way. He's got stormtroopers at his beck and call.
Yeah,
he's not wasting his time on pleb soldiers. He's a freaking Sith Lord. Unless you have a lightsaber, you're not giving. Darth Vader's going to choke you from a distance and then leave you alone.
That's a valid point, man.
And even if Andor is going to be that way, then he needs a Scully. Mulder needs a Scully. You know what I mean? If you're going to be this way, then you need somebody to balance that out.
Yeah.
It's like, why are you going to give this to the kids? This dude just assassinating people, and we're going to give this action figure to our kids.
Yeah.
Star Wars on a t-shirt.
Well, and you're right. I'm not defending what they did in a Star Wars show, but in my view, if this was any other show, he had to kill that guy.
Well, let's be real. Han did the same exact fucking thing.
He shot first.
Right in the middle of a goddamn bar.
He did shoot first, but that was dope.
Yeah.
He knew he had to.
It was more fun.
It was more fun. It was.
I'm not going to argue that.
Cowboy.
All I'm going to say, and I'm not even disagreeing that this is not Star Wars.
I'm with you.
Right? Like, I'm not disagreeing that. I'm just saying that so far I understand what's going on. I understand the motivations. Jane's not wrong. I actually am kind of rooting more for the Imperial corporation guy, because he's not wrong. And he's the only one trying to do his job. Now, I know the next episode he's going to get his ass chewed out because he just lost half his crew and just started a big hullabaloo after he was told not to. But regardless, he's got that part on his side that, at least he was trying to do the right thing. Yeah, Andor is a fucking criminal.
No fewer than clearly 3 times does he put a gun in somebody's head.
At least he could
I just don't know why this is on Disney.
Yeah,
let's not forget.
Well, I'll tell you, part of it is because they realize that over half of their audience is parents without, or not, is parentless. They're not kids with adults without kids. Is what I'm trying to say.
So that's
not
what
parents.
they want. They're not going for kids anymore, or people with kids. They don't care about that. What kills me though is it's not even like he's doing. This is before he gets involved with the Republic, with the Resistance. So like, it's just a dude murdering people. Like
That's why they recruit him, because he's ruthless.
He's ruthless. Like,
well, I understand they need somebody
let's murder
like
some
that.
more
Yeah.
people in the next.
And I'm not
episode.
excusing any of this shit.
No,
I
I'm
totally
with you,
agree
man.
with. I agree with everything everybody said. I still felt more compelled by the show than most people did, but I also felt like you could have chopped 10, 15 minutes out of this and made it one episode at this point.
I just want them. I want them to introduce some element of fantasy and some element of hope into it at some point.
Right.
Bring
it's
in the
very
Mandalorian.
bleak. It's very
Well,
bleak. It's
a big
even
part of the
shot
problem
bleak.
is they kind of forgot the fact that he's looking for his sister after the first few minutes of the show. Right? Like, I mean, they introduced that idea and then he doesn't really talk about it or deal with it again because he's now wrapped up in this whole other thing. And so I don't know if that's going to get lost or if it's going to get brought up again here. He doesn't even know if she's still
You
alive.
mean his sister that had to turn to prostitution? Like
Evidently, that was
like
the lead he followed, I guess.
Star Wars, nothing but Star Wars.
I'm going to tell you right now, chances are she's dead. But anyway.
Right. It is definitely not Star Wars. It doesn't feel like Star Wars. You have to have the vein of Star Wars. It has to have some type of heart of Star Wars. Something, maybe the liver, something. Give me something, the kidneys. I don't know. It just doesn't feel like Star Wars at all. Rogue One felt like Star Wars. Just a darker version of Star Wars, but it still felt like Star Wars.
I just didn't love those characters, and Lord Callis told me we were not meant to love those characters, and I'm like, okay, well then, mission accomplished, because I didn't love them, and I can't remember most of their names. You know what I mean? Like, okay, I know Andor, I know Jyn Erso, I know K2SO, I know the guy, the Force is with me, I'm one with the Force, whatever. You know, I just don't. Yeah, they just don't have a special place in my heart. You know what I mean? It's like it didn't take long for Han, Luke, Leia, Chewie, R2. I mean, come on, guys. Remember the feeling that you have for these guys. You wanted them to live. You wanted them to win. You know, you're going to love them forever.
Yep.
We haven't gotten that since. We sure as hell didn't get it with Rey, Finn, and Poe. I just want that old feeling back. And it's more than nostalgia. I'm open
It's hope.
to it.
It's hope.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and I don't think the feeling is going to come back, and that's why I didn't fall for the whole Luke Skywalker thing. And I'm not blaming those who did, but to me, it was like, this is cheap, and I know what they're up to. And regardless if I liked the first season of The Mandalorian, the second season was a mess. At this point, when it comes to Rogue One, I look at it as Rogue One is like you're at a bad fucking restaurant and every bit of your meal is horrible except for one small piece of the appetizer, which was the cheese curds. And really, the only reason they didn't fuck that up is because literally all you have to do is drop them in the deep fryer for a minute. Right? Like, that's the only reason they got this fucker right. And Script is right in a lot of his arguments, because I used to think that, you know, Rogue One was fine. I used to make fun of it, calling it Star Wars Inglorious Bastards, because it's pretty much the same motherfucking movie. But I mean, at that point, once he kind of broke it down for me a little bit more, it's like, yeah, that is kind of stupid. I don't think Vader really kind of would do that, but it is. That scene for Vader is the definition of fan service. When people ask what's the difference between member berries, fan service, and that kind of business, that scene is the definition
Total
of fan service.
Total.
Yeah, and it cost them a pretty penny to do too. Because I'm sorry, that was not easy.
It was a reshoot. It was a lot of effects for that. But I mean, it's an insulting form of fan service because it's not giving you who the character you know. Like you say, okay, if that was Darth Vader, say a month after he got into his suit and he's going after Jedi and this Jedi in the halls, that makes sense. Yeah. But it's normal humans who don't stand a chance of him anyways. He doesn't waste his time on that. Every single instance we see of Darth Vader in the original trilogy, he doesn't attack people en masse unless he's leading a battalion of stormtroopers. He's intimate. Captain Antilles, he's strangling him and choking him and holding him above the ground. The admiral in the Death Star conference room, he's force choking him from across the room. He's fighting one by one. The only time he has support is when he's in the TIE fighter, because it's a bit more larger variables. It's not a controlled space. He's got two wingmen, but he's the one that's doing all the one-by-one killing of the X-Wings in the Death Star trench run.
And the other thing that really kind of twisted my feelings to the other side when Script was talking about this, he wasn't as passionate and bubbly as he was right there, but when he got to the part about how he was treated in the scene between, all the diplomats or whatever you want to call it in the Imperial meeting, right? Like Vader was being treated like shit.
Mhm.
He was
Disrespected.
literally being called out by that one guy until he started choking him, right? Like, he's like, don't try and fucking talk your big shit in here, man. Who the fuck you think you are? You're fucking, you're a witch doctor. Get the hell out of here.
Your kind.
Right.
Like, he's being told the last of the Jedi. Like, that's what he is essentially. I mean, even Tarkin says that as well. It's like, you're all that's left of your old religion. I mean, they're basically saying that he's just a bad Jedi before we even learned what a Sith was at that
He's
time.
basically a bulldog to the fucking to Tarkin at that point, and even then he's not even respected. So that tells me
says that he's on Vader's leash.
Well, I always,
exactly
Vader's
yeah
on a leash to Leia, to Tarkin. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly my point. He's his bulldog, and not only that, he's not a respected bulldog.
Right.
Like, look at him compared to Luca Brasi. That's basically who Darth Vader is in this hierarchy.
Wow.
But they treated him like he was so much more in the end.
Right.
He really is, though. That's who he is. He's Luca Brasi, and those guys are treating him like shit. But imagine now if you'd have talked that way to Luca Brasi, he'd have fucking twisted your face off.
Yeah. You know? What I found interesting is I always compared him to like a the last, and not the movie, but the Last of the Samurai, like looking for the honorable fight, looking for the honorable kill. Like, to him, killing a Jedi was, even though he is the dark side, it's an honorable fight to be in. And you're right. He never really, unless shot at, he deflected, you know, but he never really killed anybody. He let his stormtroopers kill him. So to me, he was always looking for that honorable battle.
It was very honorable the way he cut down all those younglings, though. I will admit that.
Well, I mean, he was pissed off at that time. He was young. Everybody goes
Which
through a young
does
phase where
remind
you
me.
kill kids. What?
They did say that James Earl Jones has officially retired, you know, from doing the voice.
Well, we
Didn't
found
they,
out he
like,
didn't even
so-
technically
CGI
do
him?
the voice in Obi-Wan. They just used that AI system that I was
Yeah.
talking about. Yeah.
AI,
I
yeah.
know, yeah. But that's a huge thing, you know,
That's sad.
especially these days now when they try to act like black people will never end Star Wars and stuff like that. I mean, give the man a round of applause. I mean, obviously,
He was the greatest.
this man, yes, he was able to personify one of the greatest villains of all time in movies.
Just by his voice.
Well,
Just
people
by his
forget
voice.
that James even comes from that same era as Sidney Poitier and all those guys too. That's the thing. And
Yep.
it is sad, but this is kind of the way it's going. We've talked to guys like Gary Tunnicliffe and stuff like that, where he's talked about in the last few years. And I'm sure Script has even heard of this too, where a lot of these actors are going in and they're getting themselves digitally, you know, mapped out in the computer at different ages and places, and getting their voices, you know, taken on. Like they have to say a bunch of phrases and all kinds of other stuff. Then the computer basically just calculates it all. And like, yeah, then every few years, if they have to, they have this all on file. And then they're basically going to turn around and sell their likenesses in the future is what they're going to do. They're already starting to do it in some cases.
Wow.
Yeah, but the thing that there's a big hindrance to that, and that is there's not going to be any sort of virtual actor real growth in that. The performances are always going to be identical,
Stilted, and
to that role. Like even the stuff that was going on with Obi-Wan Kenobi, it felt like someone was impersonating James Earl Jones.
It did.
In the way that he pronounced and paced his words as opposed to what James Earl Jones, the choices he would have made. And every actor has a unique approach to a role or to a set of lines, even one that's playing a character multiple times. Like take a look at William Shatner and James T. Kirk. If you just used an AI to capture his performance from that first season of the original series, you'd never get stuff from that would fit Wrath of Khan.
Right.
would be
No,
tragic.
that's totally accurate. And I agree with you, Script, on that. It's not going to work out the way they want it to either. But that's the future. And if you guys remember,
base stuff will, but like
yeah,
the actual
but even
voice
then, it's
replacement,
still
that's not going to work.
It's still not quite working. Well, to a point, it has. They have used it already for certain things, but you're right. It's only going to go so far as its usefulness, because you're only allowed to go so far with the manipulation. And I noticed something was up. If you go back to when Obi-Wan came out, I said something about his voice. I said, this is supposed to be James Earl Jones, but they had to have manipulated it somehow. I said, because it does not sound like he sounds now. I said they must have sped it up or something, because if you listen to his voice compared to what it was back in the 70s and 80s compared to what it sounded like in like Rogue One, and even compared to Episode 3, there's a big variable difference in it. I mean, he talks slower. You can tell he's a little older, that kind of a thing. It's not the same, Energy, exactly. Thank you. And with this, it's like, yeah, it sounds kind of like him, but something's off. Like it's like
You
some.
know what?
It's
They might have got away with it a little bit more with Vader this time around, just because he is actually more machine than man. But to me, it was even more offensive what they did with Luke. You know, after I got finished crying, yeah, I was one of those people. But when you really look at the way Luke's voice sounds in The Mandalorian, you know, and in the book of Boba Fett, you could tell there's no humanity there at all.
It doesn't sound like Luke at all. Like even the words don't even fit his character, because the pattern with Luke Skywalker is he introduces himself all the time. In the first thing, he's like, "I'm Luke Skywalker. I'm here to rescue you." And then with Jabba the Hutt, he's like, "I'm Luke Skywalker, Jedi Knight and friend to Captain Solo." The first things he should have said when he walked into that room is, "I'm Luke Skywalker, Jedi Knight, and I'm here for the child."
Yeah.
No, but he says nothing, and they're just like, "Well, this guy seems tough. Hand him the kid. Hand him." Like no one says anything.
Well, not only that, Luke didn't need to be there because the Mandalorian had a lightsaber and Beskar armor. He could have destroyed those robots himself.
Yeah, but
the only
member
difference, you just replace Beskar armor with the Force, and you still have the same skill set needed to defeat those robots. There's no reason to have brought Luke Skywalker into that scene. He was wasted.
Yeah.
Yeah, in retrospect, absolutely.
Well, and it adds
it's hard
issues.
to see when the emotions and buildup that comes in there, and you see the character. Like I was actually really disappointed when I first saw it. If you don't believe me, Nerd Cookies has the live stream on her channel where I was the only one that said I wasn't impressed by it. But the fact of the matter is, I totally understand why the fans were, because it's like, oh my God, you're seeing a character, you're seeing an old friend that you have not seen in decades come in, behave a little out of character, but you don't care because you're just excited to see them. And I totally respect and understand that. But
again, they don't respect us.
That's
they
the thing.
don't.
They're doing it not to respect you, because
Well,
if you were to bring in Luke Skywalker or any character from the original trilogy, or heck, even the prequel trilogy, you have to make them consistent with how they've been established, so that it's not just a physical representation or recognition of the character. It's, oh, this is the person actually who we've seen in those 6 movies or those 3 movies,
right?
On which,
like in Obi-Wan. Like in Obi-Wan, the series where like they're contacting him about Leia, but yet they have a freaking planet with troops and all these people that can search for her. But
Don't even get me fucking started.
Dude, that is one of the things that angers me more than anything.
Well, what bothered me was not only was I unimpressed by the technicality of it, but I was also like, this causes too many issues, even if they're trying to stick with their sequel shit. Because if Luke is aware of Grogu's existence, that is an issue, because he is obviously somebody who is very strong with the Force, and you want to train him correctly and all this shit. And all they had to do is kind of set it up to where Luke just never finds out about him. And that's why his existence doesn't really affect the sequels at all or anything else. Right. Because at this point, we know they can't deviate from the sequels, regardless of what anybody really wants to do. They're stuck in this place that they can't get out of. They can dance around them, and I don't know if they're ever going to try and do this whole, like, you know, the time travel thing or not. Who knows with Ahsoka.
Oh, that terrible worlds between world thing that the one came up with, which completely destroys your entire universe, because it's like anyone has to find it can time travel.
And this is why I keep telling you guys, Filoni's not your friend. Sorry, Grant.
Yeah, well, like that's the whole point of the War Between Worlds and the Veil and all that. It's the reset button.
It's the reboot. It's a reboot.
X-Men and Marvel have cable. Every time things get too much, they get cable to go back in time and change things. That's their reset button. Yeah. And that's the only reason why.
With that, right? What happens when someone writes a story where they go back and they prevent Anakin from falling to the dark side? You've just now erased the original trilogy.
Yeah.
But that's actually the goal.
And they can remake it.
Well, no, you wouldn't be able to remake it because it'd be a completely different story. You wouldn't have that arc or that connection or anything of that nature.
Now, look, they've already
what's the goal?
For which part?
No. You said that's their goal. So
their goal is to remake the original trilogy. That's
not going to make it first, though.
Well,
I know that. I've heard directly from Disney that if they're going to remake it, they're starting from episode 1.
They are.
Sources. I got sources.
I've heard they can't really do it anyway, and that's kind of the undoing of
They can't do it while Lucas is still alive.
Exactly, yeah.
They can after he's gone.
That's
a
correct.
shame. And that dude, much like George R.R. Miller, is about one cheeseburger away from not being with us anymore. So,
are you kidding me? George Lucas will live to be 110 just to be stubborn.
He's talking about George R.R. Martin.
Is that what I said?
You said
George R.R. Martin's already on borrowed time, but George Lucas, on the other hand, Like, he'll live to be 110.
Apparently, this has other things on my mind. I don't know why.
Martin has to finish that book. Well, both
Yeah.
books before he dies.
George Lucas might not. He might not survive the next Indiana Jones movie. You know, but
That's true.
what they're gonna do with that, boy?
He's gonna go apoplectic.
Then again, I don't even know if George even is on the same plane with Indiana Jones anymore after the 4th film. I mean, really? Like,
Could someone tell me what's up with that Indiana Jones? Like, I know we saw Harrison Ford like falling apart, like crying almost.
They're going to erase him.
Basically, all the shit that we heard from the leaks and rumors are probably true.
And
Lord Almighty, I hope not. I've lived too long if that's the case. I never wanted to see that.
I heard they're going to introduce Cable, and he's going to go back in time.
That is
only Cable is played by
this new chick is Cable.
I was just gonna say only Cable's played by Fleabag is what I was just gonna
right.
Wait a minute. Explain this to me, because I don't know the leaks because I'm too scared.
Relay what we
the shortest version I know, if I remember right, and I guess they've got like 2 or 3 different alternate endings to go with.
They do.
Hope you're sitting down, Scott.
I am. Thank God.
The short version I know is that it has to do with time travel. Indy fucked something up in the past. So they end up finding a way to go back in time through, I think it's the Manhattan Project or whatever it is at that time.
Or Philadelphia Project.
Or Philadelphia, thank you. That's what I meant. Yeah, that's what I meant. I'm sorry. Thank you, Script. Yeah, Philadelphia Project. And then, so when they go back in time, we get a young Indy, an old Indy, and Fleabag. And young Indy ends up sacrificing himself to set things right, meaning that Indy didn't go into it doesn't exist in the future, leaving Fleabag to finish off his adventures.
And what about Short Round? What happened to him?
Yeah,
I heard he may have a cameo in the older setting, but that's about it. I have no idea what they're doing otherwise.
So
I don't know
you're
when
saying,
they're
like,
supposed to exactly be going back in time, but we do know there's obviously Yahtzee soldiers. So.
Are they going back to like River Phoenix age, or are they going back to like
no,
right before
they're going
the
back
arc?
to, I think it's probably either right before the arc or somewhere
God.
in that area because it's young
erase
Indy.
the original trilogy.
And then she's going to do
Well,
those
maybe
that
Temple of
trilogy?
Doom might happen.
Oh yeah,
Like,
Temple of Doom happened after the arc, right?
I heard Sala's in it. I mean, that's something.
Because there's Yahtzees in it. That's why it has to either between Raiders or between Temple and Raiders or
it could be
during
right
Raiders
after Last Crusade because Crusade was still
or during
the second World War.
yeah, it could be in that region too. But supposedly though, then she'll be the one to take up the mantle after that. Basically.
Oh God.
Oh
my God.
My
And
God.
She's playing Marcus's daughter, right?
I think so, but you know what this
I heard
also
that.
does? This erases Mutt too out of existence. Don't forget that.
I mean, that's not a bad thing.
No, it is. I'm sorry.
No, it isn't, but it is at the same time. Because like I'm with culture.
Like this is how we get rid of Mutt.
You could recast him.
Yeah,
Chris
exactly.
Pratt easily.
Oh yeah.
He's cool.
I would
Well,
follow
hell,
Chris.
you could put
Chris
Holland.
Pratt.
If you put Holland in that character of Mutt, it would he'd be a better Mutt, to be honest with you.
And you know what? That was the 50s, right?
I'm Holland out though.
So
I
you
feel
get
you.
Chris
I feel
Pratt
you.
doing 60s and 70s adventures.
I feel like we need to Holland out of here. Look, it's just I'm unhappy. Sorry.
Honestly, I think everybody would be happier if Indiana
my
Jones
channel.
5 just was in the 60s and he was just beating up hippies. I'd be happy with that.
Oh, that would be awesome.
I would
LSD.
have been happy if they just would have realized this was a bad idea.
Well, they've broken their first rule, which is that the Indiana Jones films are aside from Temple of Doom, are supposed to coincide with Harrison Ford's age. So he's whatever age he was in Last Crusade is the age Indiana Jones was in that year. So you add the years to Harrison Ford, and that's the time period that he's supposed to be in for the next one. That's what they did technically with the Crystal Skull. If they were going to do another one, which would be 15 years later. So
it'd be in
these early 70s.
That's what I'm saying. You could have him going,
all right,
hippies. Why did it have to be hippies?
Right. Somewhere in San Francisco.
Indiana
porch.
Jones and the Sunshine Band. That's right.
Yeah, he invents disco.
Indiana Jones.
A little early.
Fury. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Play
That's
that
awesome.
funky music, white boy.
That's awesome. So our last topic, we're going to go into our last topic real quick because I think it's important. We got to protect. Oh, wait a minute. Raging.
Oh, we were
Raging
talking
might have
Star
some-
Wars. He had to come on in.
Yeah. Let's remove that for a second.
I literally woke up, I opened the stream, and you guys are talking about Luke Skywalker scene. I'm like, all right, get out of bed, Rhino.
What time is it there?
I
It's,
believe.
You know what?
Midday. It's 12 o'clock, but I was up. I was drinking last night
Oh,
on
okay.
stream
Yeah,
on the
you
full
were.
Aussie.
Yeah, you
And-
were.
Yeah,
Because it was Steph's birthday,
It
right?
was Steph's birthday. That's right.
Who's now a channel
Let me
member.
look.
Thank
Rhino.
you, Eric.
Yeah, you guys
Rhino,
were.
the only time I was ever ashamed of any video that I ever did was when I did that video raving about Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
And after I did it, I watched your video and felt so ashamed.
No, it's like, look,
I-
I don't want anybody to feel like they should be ashamed.
Me too.
I do.
I know,
do.
but
I do.
But he pointed out some things. I'm like, of course, they got me again. You know?
Yeah. It was just
Yeah.
it was
It's the
and it was
feeling.
that. And the like at least you're able to see that, Mark.
Yeah.
Like,
Look,
there
every
are
one of
people
us-
out there that are still like, oh my god, it's still the most
Yeah.
amazing scene ever.
That's
Like,
that's the
it's
bigger
incredible.
difference. Like, look, everybody's been that kid where you see that thing on TV, and
Yep.
in your mind you build it up so much more than it's going to be, and then when you finally get it in your hands, you realize it was a gimmick. The whole time it wasn't what you thought it was, and that's all this really is. So I totally understand people and the feeling. So if you don't feel like you were
Well, in the
duped,
moment.
I don't
the
think
moment.
it's wrong. If
I
they
don't think
give
so
you
either.
something of value and it gives you a moment of joy,
Yeah.
to me that's fine. I've got nothing from
Yeah,
Ring of
absolutely.
Power. Rings of
No,
Power. or whatever.
you're
Nothing.
right,
We all got
Jane.
sucked in by the Force Awakens.
Yeah, that's
well,
true.
most
See,
people,
I didn't.
most people got sucked in by the Force Awakens.
Right.
And look, let me tell you,
A New Hope, too?
I struggled for 2 weeks, Rhino. 2 weeks over that film, right? Because my initial reaction was the same as my brother. And because we saw it together along with many other family members, because that had become a tradition. And we saw the film and we were like, oh, that was really amazing, blah, blah, blah. It was really familiar. It's kind of a New Hope. And, you know, so and that's what there was our conversation leaving the theater.
Yep.
2 weeks later, we have the same conversation that a lot of us are having now. Holy cow, that was really hollow. It was incredibly empty. There was, you know, it was that realization. It took a long time to get there, right? We get there faster
But
now.
this seems to be the problem with Star Wars, because I'm seeing the same thing with Andor. I'm sorry, like what? Give it. Let the series play out. Let people have their little moments, and then let them step back and actually assess
Think
it.
about it. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I can't even get there.
I know it's pretty boring, but like I watched just with the Andor series, like there's nothing in the Andor series really too much that they actually destroy lore or canon. There might be a little bit of continuity issue because it's not really what George wanted to do with the rebellion, and they've already said that the creator has already come out and said that you know, everything you thought you knew about this era, you're wrong. Every discussion that you've had with your fan mates, you're wrong. Like, okay, and people are just going to sit there and say that, oh, that was really good. That was okay. Yes, people can act. People can emote. Like, I will say that in the Andor series, if you've been watching it, the leader of the cops, let's say,
Yeah, the police.
The deputy guy, right? Him?
He can act.
Oh yeah.
Like, especially in that scene where the thing blows up at the end and he's just in shock, and like he's like, you can see that he's sort of thinking about his consequences and stuff like this. But I, like, personally, I'm just looking through it and going, they're playing on they're just playing on your feelings. And then when you step back and you take a look at what the series is going to be, and I could be wrong. I could be well and truly wrong, and I don't mind being wrong. But from what we've got from Disney, I've got nothing to give them any of my trust whatsoever. Nothing. Not one little piece. People can say, oh, but Rogue One was really good, and this is going to roll into Rogue One. What was good about Rogue One?
I enjoyed it.
What was good about it?
A little bit of the starfight was all right.
Yeah, there
I
was
like the
parts.
blind guy and his.
I like the robot.
companion.
The
The robot was
robot.
good. Yeah, K2SO.
When-
Alan too.
Literally,
all
when the
very small
robot
things.
sacrificed himself, I felt something, and I'm
No,
not.
but
and
like it's not. No, to a point though. Ryan's right. I get what you're
Yeah, I
saying.
get what he's saying
Yeah,
completely.
and I can't argue with it either. Even though I probably like the show most of all on this panel. I
Yeah.
mean, but I use the term in a sense that, like, look, I understand. I also like things like Chinatown. right? And other movies that are slower and
That's good.
and things like that are different.
But but that film built.
But I can't argue that this is a Star Wars in any fucking way either.
No.
So that's the thing.
In look, I mean, it's the same thing. It's shallow. It's a facade. It's an imperfect imitation of Star Wars, and that's we've been delivered that since Disney bought it. I mean, let's just be honest.
I don't even think it is. They're not even trying. With Rogue One, you could see that they were trying to at least insert it.
Maybe that's what it is.
I agree.
Andor,
I agree with that, Jane.
Yeah.
I
Andor feels
agree with
nothing.
that.
It feels closer to like a not neon Blade Runner. I don't know how to explain it. It's just very like.
Do you think it would have been too much if he had walked into the brothel in the very beginning and just looked around and said, I have a bad feeling about this.
Yeah.
Do you think that would have been too much?
Yes.
Do you think that? I think it would have endeared me a little bit more, even though clearly it's fan service.
Right.
But at least I would have known. Yeah.
That's Star
watching
Wars.
I mean,
Star Wars.
okay, so
Yeah.
the actors even in interviews came out and said like, it was in that same interview where the chick was saying the boys, the inept, corner cutting boys,
Right.
like in that the guy that was sitting next to her, when he speaks, he says that, Tony Gilroy really didn't know what he wanted to do with my character, whether or not he wanted me to be good or bad. So we got halfway through and it's like, what do you want me to do with it? And it's like, oh, I don't know. We don't know yet. It's like, okay, so you're making it up as you go, just like everything else. I want to also
actually.
if you can share my screen really quickly, I just want to show you guys this. I don't know if you saw this. So, So season 1, episodes 1 to 12 takes place between 5 BBY and 4 BBY. Season 2, 3 episodes is within a year. Another 3 episodes is within a year. Another 3 episodes is within a year. It's going to be interesting to see how they do that. There's going to be massive time. You're going to get 3 episodes and a massive time jump. Another 3 episodes and a massive time jump.
Wow.
Doesn't that?
And then you look at this. Like, I know that they've got a team of writers and stuff like this, and a team of
Tony
directors
Dan
and
Gilroy aren't
everything.
really much writers.
But you look at what they did with, like, The Mandalorian, right? People praise still to this day The Mandalorian, and we talked about it when I jumped in about like how Mark, you took a step back with the Luke Skywalker thing, and you were kind of like, okay, maybe it's not as good as I thought. Yes, I did get my emotions out of it, but it wasn't necessarily as good as I thought. Like, you look at The Mandalorian, and people are still praising that, but there's still that episode in there where he puts Grogu on the Seeing Stone, and that episode is full of so many plot contrivances, so many writing contrivances, so much directing, editing, like everything about that one episode in The Mandalorian is really bad, but it's not just in that episode.
Okay, but look, okay, so the thing is we're about to be past we will get quickly beyond the Gilroy episodes. Gilroy wrote the first 3.
Yeah, and he wrote the last 2.
Right.
And his brother wrote the 4, 5, and 6 in the middle.
Right. And so we're going to actually, he's known as a producer, right? Primarily. Mm-hmm. I'm not certain. Am I wrong?
No, he's producer, more of a director. He's also like a little bit like Gareth Edwards. He's also into special effects as well.
Yeah, and the guy that's in there that also wrote is Beau Wilmont. I think that's his name. He actually has a pedigree. He actually wrote some really good stuff other places. So there'll be at least one episode. Yeah, Beau Willimon, that's his name. Yeah, so at least you'll get 3 episodes where you'll have a quality writer, somebody who knew how to do it.
You have 3 episodes written by a quality writer, whether or not they turned in something of quality or wasn't.
I have no doubt.
It's different, yeah.
I have no doubt that there are people there, some people still there, that can actually be competent and produce something competently. The problem is that even if you put 1, 2, 3 episodes in amongst a 12-episode series, and those 3 episodes happen to be decent or good, you're still putting you can't polish a turd.
Well, this is it, Rhino.
You know where we're going wrong here, guys? Did you see that jack off on Twitter saying that you have to have at least one Latino?
Yeah, I was going to say that earlier. We're kind of out of bounds here.
Wait a
You know
minute,
what I mean?
what?
Like-
I missed
The
it. What did he say?
Or the Lamarche dude, or
Oh, the guy who said
John
if you're
Roca.
not
okay, that's his name.
if you're not like Latino or Latino adjacent, you can't comment on this.
Or at
You
least
gotta
How
have
have
somebody
racist
on
is
the
that?
panel.
How racist is
yeah.
it?
It's not even medium racist.
Paulie,
Yeah.
Paulie,
Yeah.
Paulie usually like
Paulie-
magically appears.
and we'll
Going
take
through-
Mexican Iron Man if he's around.
Going
too.
to the last point,
All
though,
the talents,
seriously though, on that last point, like if you had this crew of semi-talented people working on a character or a show that people actually gave a shit about, maybe we'd have more to be excited about. I think that's the bigger problem we have here, more than anything, regardless of all of this other bullshit. Because at this point, it don't fucking matter. This is going to be the least watched Disney show you watch as far as the Star Wars stuff goes. Why? Because nobody gives a shit about Andor.
Well, let me put it this way.
but
It's
I'm
not even
also-
Andor. One sec, Rage, and this is the difference. And we've only had a couple subjects tonight, but it kind of all bleeds in. Andor doesn't feel like Star Wars. Rings of Power doesn't feel like Lord of the Rings. House of the Dragon feels like more Game of Thrones than season 8. It feels like 1, 2, 3, 4 around there.
Hey, I've heard House of the Dragon feels more like Star Wars than Star Wars. Like,
Cobra
it's
Kai
actually
is more
crazy.
Star Wars than Star
Top
Wars.
Gun was more Star Wars than Star
But
Wars.
what I was trying to say is Rings of Power and Star Wars, it's really, good versus evil. It's the black hats and the white hats.
Yep.
When you get to House of the Dragon, that's supposed to feel like, gray characters, and it does, but these shows feel even worse with that. Like, they don't want you to think anybody's good or bad, because even in Rings of Power, Sauron's going to be like, oh, you guys brought me back. I really didn't want to be a bad guy. Like, what?
Right.
He's pure evil. Like, come on.
I think you also
And there's
have this
nothing
thing
wrong
with the new story, like with those. The difference with House of the Dragon too is that they're actually trying to appreciate and respect the original work.
You could have just
And then these
stopped
others,
Jane
they
at
just
trying.
take the name and they want to recreate it in their own image.
Amen.
Well, do you feel, and maybe this is just me, that they're
Okay.
trying to avoid traditional morals? They
Of
are
course.
trying to avoid any kind of morality tale that would point to the fact that, their modernity that they're trying to insert everywhere is a bad thing. Because
Yep.
I hate
listen,
that.
the only people that they can identify with are the villains. That's why they write the villains to be, nice. You need to like the villain.
Well,
'Cause the
at least their
villain's not bad.
motivations are understandable. I would say that much. There is
More
the droid,
sympathetic.
though. That's probably the one thing that does feel Star Warsy, and I'll give them credit for.
Okay.
I did
Is it
like
the same one
droid.
from episode 1 that skips?
No,
no,
it's
no,
a
no.
fire extinguisher. It's a fire
Yeah.
hydrant looking droid.
Yeah.
Oh.
But he's got a cute little gimmick between him and Andor and
Yeah, he
Andor's
kind of skips how he
adopted
talks.
mom.
Like
Well,
his,
yeah. Well, it's not that so
Oh.
much as his idea, like they lie to each other through him.
Oh, right. He doesn't
So,
have enough
like-
power to lie.
So like, I don't know if I have enough power to keep a lie, and he's like tells him what he's got to lie about, and he's like, that's 2 lies. Like, little things like that kind of make me giggle. But other than that, that's the only parts that I could say feel like Star Wars. But I guess since we don't have a Latino on the panel here, we gotta just kind of point out the obvious.
yeah.
That I mean, it's really on the nose that the planet that he lives on is clearly like Tijuana, and the planet that he came from before was clearly like South America or something like that. It's not.
Yeah.
Well, they even
Yeah,
talk
like-
about border security.
Yeah, I mean, there's the on the nose shit, but in this case, it's not as bad as some of the other
Still,
woke shit.
That's still an excuse. You just threw an excuse out there, my friend.
Yeah,
Well,
what I'm saying is they used it in a way that normally shows would. It was subversive of the actual topic, but at the same time, with it, them throwing it in our face in the interviews and stuff like that is what probably made it feel more.
No.
Well, even
They
in
just try to kind of glorify
Trumpian world
kidnapping.
and all of that, the promotion that they put out there. But see, this is the thing. The activists within Hollywood, they can say those things and sometimes they can be wrong, just like Ewan McGregor was with Birds of Prey, right? Like he came out, you lady, you are going to deal with the misogynistic crap that you ladies have to deal with on a daily basis.
Ooh.
And then people go and see it and they're like, what the fuck was he
Rhino.
talking about?
Rhino, dude just stepped into the Star Wars space saying the same dumb fucking take.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I bet he was. He
has
wasn't wrong
epic
with that.
bad takes. He is the Lofty of Star Wars, bro.
Yeah.
Well, like House of the
but I
Dragon,
also-
people said stupid stuff though. They said stuff about the patriarchy because, well, it is kind of about the patriarchy and two
It
women
is.
ruining
Well, it's
everything.
actually showing a real patriarchy, something the likes of which we haven't seen in human history in a very, very, very long time.
Right.
I can't wait for the next person to say to me, "Oh, Star Wars is for kids," and I'm like, "Oh, so they put brothel in kids shows now?"
Oh, they're trying to.
Shows now.
And
Hey, they're putting gambling in Disney now, so let's
and
keep going.
I hate the fact that they use the word shit instead of using a Star Wars slang
Yeah,
word.
man, that
Like-
was terrible.
Like voodoo.
Yes, yes.
Well, that's
Yeah.
another thing. The writing.
Yeah.
The writing is so poor in Rings of Power. Like I think they say like
I don't
okay
know.
and
I
stuff.
like Captain Fat
They
Bastard, so I'm
almost
gonna let
said
that one
shit
slide.
in Rings
I
of Power.
Yes.
Fair
Yes,
Oh my
you're
God,
right.
I almost choked on that. No way in the world they should have used shit in
Well,
Star Wars.
It's ridiculous, but then you
Yeah.
get House of the Dragon, and the writing feels more epic. It feels
Oh,
just the
shit.
way they speak.
So
Does it
Steph
feel
des-
literally
Steph
epic?
destroyed-
Literally,
Steph destroyed that Tom, whatever his name is, that guy who said the Latino thing. Is that his name? Tom?
Yes.
I don't even know.
Yeah,
Joe
Rogan.
Rogan.
Destroyed him so much that he actually deleted the tweet.
oh,
Yeah, he
Steph
deleted
blew him
it.
up.
He cut out comments at one point.
That is he knew he
He
was
and Paulie
knew-
got into it too a little bit. You know?
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
not want to go up against Paulie on something like that. I'd be like, you know what, bro,
No.
you win.
Yeah,
Done.
Yeah.
no mas.
No more.
Yeah,
It was stupid,
Paulie
like
shows
what I
up
did
in
there.
yeah,
Yeah,
Paulie
nice
shows
little
up in a
box.
topic like that.
Box uniforms.
Back away.
Yeah, you just back away and let Paulie take
Yeah.
over because
And
dude,
uh,
Paulie is a smart dude, man, and
Another
he's
thing that
well
I'm sick of.
spoken.
Another thing that I'm sick of is like, oh, it's critically acclaimed. It's the best Star Wars series yet. It's like, okay,
Made
so The
for-
Mandalorian was promoted as the best Star Wars series yet. And then the Book of Boba Fett comes out. It's the best Star Wars series yet. And Obi-Wan
Right.
Kenobi comes out. It's the best Star Wars series yet. Andor comes out. It's the best Star Wars series yet.
Made for a
All I
modern audience.
can- Wow.
Well, were they triumphs though, Rhino? That's the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They were stunning.
See,
They were stunning and brave.
They think they
Stunning
are.
and brave.
I would much rather see a series about Red Leader from the first Star Wars film fighting, being a pilot during the Clone Wars and crossing paths with Anakin every once in a while,
Mhm.
and
Show me-
seeing a show about Andor.
You know what? Script even better. Show me Wedge. Show me the adventures
Yeah.
of Wedge.
Yeah,
Oh
there
man,
you go. Wedge,
Dude, how
I wanna
dope
see
would
the-
that be?
I wanna
of
see the
Wedge's
adventures
missions
of
during
Wade.
played in parallel to the
Wade.
original trilogy.
Rest in peace, Wade.
Wait.
Oh,
Yes.
Wade.
just
Yeah.
wasted a great
Wade,
character.
who is probably a distant relative of Dak.
Oh shit.
But you understand. I mean, that's like there are so many other stories that are far better that you could play in parallel. If you're trying to glom on to the past, there are better stories out there. You can
But
tell
that's the
good
thing.
stories.
They own everything. They have
Yeah.
so much material they could use. They don't have to reinvent the wheel
Oh,
here.
wait a minute. They don't have 700-page epic, tomes of like stories that they can pull.
No, Star Wars, there is nothing.
There's
No,
nothing.
that's all
Nothing.
That's all.
Yeah,
Never existed.
Never
All
existed.
they had was 6 movies.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it.
Don't
That's
get me
it.
wrong. Star Wars is such a vast universe. You can do stories without
Forever.
the Force. You can do stories without lightsabers and the flashy
But
shit
why
on the
would you?
screen. Grace Randolph, you fucking
You
idiot.
can do stories without the Empire or the Rebellion or the or the
Also true.
But see,
But again,
you've got to
why?
remember that the Mandalorian was promoted a year before we got it. It was promoted to be, we're going to see the underworld. We're going to see bounty
That's right.
hunters. We're going to see no Force users, right? And
Until second episode.
Until episode 2.
The
It's
very
just-
end of the episode.
Yoda.
One.
Like,
It's ridiculous,
Why,
man. Like,
why do they want to get away from what makes these
Thank you,
IPs
Jane.
popular in the first place? Stick to your roots.
Like
But
Lord Callus videos, Lord Callus 1-minute shorts. I am more like invested in watching his videos about different Jedi, different Sith Lords. Like I find it so interesting. Just hire him. Hire Lord Callus and just be
Exactly.
like, what story should we write? And he'd just be like, oh, write about this Sith Lord from 2,000 years ago. I would watch
Yeah.
it. Hail Lord Callus.
And he's so passionate with it too, man.
Oh
It's
my
like,
God,
he brings
Amazing.
that.
He knows them all, and there's so many amazing stories I had not even heard of, and I was just like, you know what? Dang, I want to know more about this character.
I was going to say, a show is bigger than just a character, right? And script will tell you that. You need to have an interesting ground, a foundation to build upon, and actually have stuff to draw from.
Yep.
And Andor, unfortunately, is a prequel that leads to one place and one place only.
Yep.
Same thing with Obi-Wan. Same thing with, some of these other shows. Mandalorian being the only semi-outlier, but it's still technically found a way, and this is what pissed me off about the Luke moment, was it still found a way to make its way back into this fucking river of bullshit.
Yep.
And Wade's in it at the same time. Not only that, we literally get the same goddamn scene we got at the end of Rogue One with Vader with Luke.
Right.
And I'm not the first person to point that out either.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, let's say you are.
wait.
Very
They
good.
liked this. They liked this. We got to do this again. How do we do
Yeah.
like
I think they. I
This
think
time
they
we'll
hate
make it green.
It's like they're forced to put something in there that the fans might actually like, but it's interfering with their ability to tell their stories and their
I want to
message.
use their words against them. They say that you can't criticize it until you've finished watching it. Well, guess what? You can't like it until you've finished watching it.
That's true.
Right. Or if you can't finish watching it because you don't like it, I'm going to criticize it.
Well, look, you guys give this stuff way too much time. We're all guilty of this. I'm going to say this out loud. You can disagree with me if you want, but we put too much wind in these sails. We've got to stop doing that.
Well, that's why I back out of a lot of shit. That's why I haven't watched hardly any She-Hulk. I've only seen 20 minutes of Rings of Power.
That's like a train wreck. I can't stop watching.
We are giving them what Raquel Briggs talks about, which I need to get her on my show. She talks about the idea of this attention economy. It's the only reason that these shows are marketed the way that they are is because it's the last way that they can market them, because they know that it's completely
it's fan baiting for one.
It's cheaper to market it that way because the last thing they want to do, because again, marketing has gotten very expensive.
Very expensive.
So has show production, because smart writers, smart producers, smart directors, and smart actors negotiate for higher prices, and studios don't want to pay that anymore.
Marketing is
short-sighted. It's short-sighted because these IPs are incredibly valuable. You're dealing with built-in fan bases that will spend anything for quality content.
But here's the thing, Jane, and this is what Culture, but this is what Script is saying. These people are no different than the contractor who's building a buttload of apartment buildings, and they know they're going to save a shitload of money going with the shittier fucking contractor than if they go with the more expensive one, regardless. Because guess what? They're going to rent them for the same amount of money anyway. So why spend that much?
Marketing costs have gone up 80% in the last 3 years.
Yeah, and it seems that the quality's gone down. I mean, just from what I've seen with Rings of Power, how much did Rings of Power cost? They've spent $1 billion apparently on that series, and
$712 million.
Yeah, and apparently there are some scenes that look good. I'm not going to deny that. And I'm only saying this because I've heard it and heard it from people that I trust. So there are some visuals that look good.
The trees. That's it.
It seems to be the only place that they can put the money. And that's another thing with Andor that I'll give him. Like, compared to Obi-Wan Kenobi, where you can actually almost tell that they're in the volume, right? Like, you can see the screen behind them. And it's like, whoa, that's jarring. Right? Whereas in Andor, I've been yet to see that. I will say there was a little bit of that with the little, when he's looking at the quarry. It's more those wide shots that you sort of notice it more. Sorry, Culture.
Do you know why that is, Ryan? Why it looks real? Because it is real. They shot it, and this Mr. H can back this up, over on his show.
It's in Israel?
They shot it
in Israel.
No. They shot Andor at Pinewood Studios.
Yeah.
Yeah, they shot it in like with sets, in landscapes, outside. Outside was outside.
Outside's cool.
But you know what another jarring thing was with all those flashback scenes for me, and I don't know if you guys, like some of you, I'm sure saw my review, but the no subtitles.
Yeah,
they're having these conversations, and
that's what I was saying.
Sitting there going, what what's
See,
the context here?
but
What's going
see,
on? It's almost
raging-
like, no, to me, it's almost like the writers had no idea what they were saying to each other.
Oh,
They just-
I don't doubt that. But raging, to me, it was like, that was the only interesting thing because I had to pay attention. I'm like, wait a minute, what are they doing?
Yeah.
That was the only time I actually like literally watched episode 1, and I can't tell you, like, I listened, but I didn't, like, when
But
they
hang
stopped.
I
couldn't
just
pay
want to make
attention
a
to
couple of
anything.
points here in regards to that. What happened to protocol droids? And every actual character, like, think about this. Every actual character is human. There's no actual character in there that's an actual alien. Now,
They don't do
yes,
that anymore.
there is the scene where Andor goes up to that window and the guy's in there and he's saying, oh, they're looking from a guy from this planet, which, you know, Cassian's home planet. And he's got his little alien buddy in that shop that reminds me of the guy from J.J. Abrams' Star Trek, Scotty's mate, right? And
Don't forget
and
the
his-
big dude.
Speaks English
yeah, there
for
is
some
that.
reason.
But see, that's all in the background though, Tom. But like the
You're
little
not
guy
wrong.
the little guy comes over and
my
he's
line.
talking to him and he can understand him. Now, I'm not saying that humans can't understand some of the alien languages within Star Wars because we clearly know that they can, especially
like
Han
Han.
Solo
Yeah.
with Chewbacca, right?
Yeah.
But
And Jabba.
what
And Jabba,
happened?
yeah.
Honestly, I have in Disney Star Wars. Have we seen a protocol droid translate anything?
Nope. Don't need
Other than in the
C-3PO
Rise of
did it.
Skywalker. No, forget that because they backseated him for fucking 2 movies, and they're like,
That's
"Oh
right.
shit, we better
just
use
asked,
our protocol
when did we
droid for
see it?
something,
Rhino.
right?"
Well,
Rhino,
to be fair, C-3PO didn't translate anything in the prequel trilogy either.
yeah, not
I
really.
think I just
Oh,
had
no.
an aneurysm listening to Rhino there. I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
I know. He injects aneurysms to others that he's supposed to be having himself. But look,
But you
it's-
know, culture, to the point you were making about, you know, just kind of like giving this way too much energy.
Yeah.
Like I always say, because people always like in my comment section, when you stop talking about it, they'll stop doing it. And first of all, I
No.
don't believe that.
No, I
And
don't
and number 2, it's kind of like you love your grandmom, you know, not
Yep.
anyone here specific grandmom, but you know, once she's gone, she passes away. Someone decides they're going to make a movie about your grandmom, and they're
Right.
going to make her a hoe. Chances are you're going to keep talking about it. You know what I mean? No, that's
And
my
a dude.
grandmom. She didn't do that. She wouldn't do that.
But,
You know,
but the point, I
it's
think,
outrageous. You love her.
oh, so let me add nuance to that. Okay,
Perfect, Mark.
Uh-huh.
we're not helping with the fan baiting stuff. I don't mind calling it out initially. I don't mind covering it, and I will obviously always offer an initial reaction. But at a certain point, I'm not putting any more wind in those sails. There's
I
no,
understand that culture, but
there's no upside.
I
No,
feel
I-
like
look, I
to
feel-
some extent, I feel like if I stop talking about it and stop pointing out what Disney Lucasfilm is doing wrong with Star Wars, all the people in my comment section telling me to shut up, or what if you're just going to hate on it, why are you watching it? They
Yeah.
win.
I'm not telling you to
They
stop.
get the bullshit Star Wars and they can ship whoever they want to ship together and all of this kind of shit because that's all
Amen.
Star Wars is now, right? No, fuck that. I'm an actual Star Wars fan. Look
You
at
know
this
that-
shit. I didn't spend
dude.
years collecting fucking
Rhino.
Star Wars for them to destroy it. I didn't spend
Kill him,
thousands
Rhino.
of fucking dollars for them to destroy it.
I
No,
know. And bro,
my favorite thing in the world.
You're-
No, fuck them.
your passion
Yes.
is one of my favorite things about you, bro. And that's why I watch all your stuff. And I'm not telling you to stop doing it. I'm just saying that every time we put wind in the sails of these types of things, their marketing strategy and all this other stuff, you know, is
So-
But
leading.
also
So is it
consider
the same
how
for
many,
Rings of
how many
Power?
Well, let
shows
Jane
Rings
let
of
Jane
Power.
speak for a second.
Yeah, Jane was saying.
consider how many shows are getting canceled now quickly, almost immediately.
Yeah.
And I think that that's in large part because more of us are
Yeah.
speaking out about it as
Yeah.
customers. I mean, just as a customer, I have a right to criticize
I
and give
and
negative reviews to these things that they're doing these days and point it
I
out.
agree with you.
And more people are
Racist.
seeing it, and more people are saying, "Oh, I agree. I didn't think about it that way." And
I
now more
Jane-
people are responding, and they're going to lose money at the
Look
end
what
of the
happened
You're a
with
white
Mark.
supremacist.
Look what
I
happened with
did
Mark.
say-
Mark watched Rhino's video and was like, "Holy shit!" Like I didn't realize that. You know what? You might be a ship culture, but I'm a stone.
This is the thing. This is.
saying
Oh,
is-
hang on. I
You
want to
guys
make
are
one thing clear.
misunderstanding my point.
I
right?
understand completely.
No,
you
I
hate
understand
us.
your point.
I'm
I get
not.
it.
I'm not going to stop covering this stuff. Right? No fear there, kids.
But you have a valid point, man.
Yeah, it's just at a certain point, like the horse is not only beaten and because it's been dead for a bit and beaten.
It's glue at this point.
It's a pile of mush. Eventually, got to move on to the next horse. There are plenty of horses.
Until I can use that horse as glue onto the next horse, I'm going to beat it.
Here's the thing,
Jane's right, though. Jane's right. We beat the horses, right? The dead horses. We go after them, and they're toast. And then they cancel the show, and they bring out another piece of garbage that, is a dead horse, DOA, dead horse on arrival. And, we go about, dead horse, and then we go to town on it again.
Rings of Power, they think that they're going to have multiple seasons of.
Bullshit.
And I'm going to do my part to make sure that doesn't happen.
And another thing, though, us talking,
rock on.
And Jane, us watching it helps people in the chat that don't watch it understand how much like they're right for not watching it.
Exactly.
Like there's a lot of people out there. Well, I just want to make a real quick point and then over to Mark. There was a lot of people that didn't give House of the Dragon a chance, and I was like, no, dude, you actually should support this. And they have started watching it after like episode 2 or 3, and they're like, holy shit, I'm glad you actually told me. There's people that trust us. And,
and you're not. I'm going to say my catchphrase. You're not wrong. That's the whole point of us being here. That's the whole point of us being here, right? Is like we're going to give you an unfiltered opinion. It's also unsolicited. So you show up at our channel. You didn't ask for this. We're just going to give it to you. And you can take it or leave it. You can trust us or don't. It doesn't matter. But at least we're able to bring into the light through a lot of debate. Like, do you realize this guy right here is named Script Doctor, by the way? He's got a channel, although he doesn't do much on it anymore. But he's a busy guy. I know. He actually has informed many of my decisions, right? He's changed my opinions on things. We're not an echo chamber. We don't all agree.
I want to point out, though, like the intention behind what I'm doing with my videos isn't to change somebody's mind. But if it does, doesn't that mean that there's some sort of truth to them, what I'm saying in that person's eyes? It's kind of like with what Mark was saying, right?
And you sound cool because you're Australian.
And you don't pronounce the R properly.
It's crazy. Like even when The Mandalorian hit, right? I copped a lot of shit for my take on The Mandalorian. A lot of fucking shit. And
Did you really? Because I was talking shit about that, and I almost got kicked off a stream because of it.
Man, I copped a lot of shit.
It was on your own channel, Scott. You deserved it.
Okay, well, Matt has too much control.
My intention, and I had to keep repeating myself. If you like it, you can like it. You can. That's your own opinion of what you're watching. But I'm going to say what I feel, say what it is, and if you happen to watch what I'm saying and that changes your opinion on it, that's on you, buddy, not on me.
Yeah,
it's as simple as that.
What I wanted to say too, the real danger in being silent is because it's not just you don't like it and you're not going to watch it and you go away. It's you don't like it, you're not going to watch it, and you're racist. You're sexist.
That's right.
You're the scum of the earth. If you don't like this, there's a certain degree of conditioning that goes with that. You're toxic if you're a boy.
Yes, but I have no problem for them calling me names because they've been doing it since I started, and you've had the same problem. I know because I've read your comments.
Oh, sure. I have a problem with them calling my son names. This is why I do it because I see him and his friends. I heard them call each other toxic before, and I had to say to them, no, you're not toxic. You're boys. Yep. They bring this stuff into themselves. When they get confused, they have to think maybe I should be a girl. This is what we're faced with, because this is what they're using Star Wars, Star Trek, all of this stuff for, Lord of the Rings, all of it. That's what it comes down to. It's not just a matter of you don't like it, go away.
It's population control.
We cannot allow these people to do what they're doing through the things that we love.
Exactly.
We could all be cool with just not liking it and going away, but they started it when they said, and you're racist. And you're toxic.
It's the social engineering part that we cannot let them get away with as well.
Yeah, exactly. And it's very detrimental.
As far as I'm concerned, we are the last line of defense because we're the last people who know better. Once we're gone, the next generations, they'll just be
Scary.
out there.
Yeah.
Do,
You
but,
know?
do
So
better.
we have
culture.
to make noise. We
Mark
have to
is
make
right.
noise.
Okay, so you think you're
This-
attacking me right now?
No, not at all. No one is.
No.
Then what was the point of that comment?
Because it was fun.
I don't even know.
That was the point of
I
the
hate it-
comment.
I hate it when I come on and I'm wearing the same shit again.
That is pretty brilliant.
All right.
We all do it, bro. We all do it.
I have never. Look. This is one
We
of the
love
reasons
you, buddy.
why I
Kinda.
This is why everybody shows up here. We have authentic conversations. There's
Yes.
there's
We can still be
legitimate-
friends.
Well, yeah, but there's legitimate informed opinion from intelligent human beings that can express themselves very well.
And Matt.
What the fuck are you talking about? That's so true. Could you get a better quality of that clip? Because that is
No,
fuzzy.
that's even
Anyway.
the best part of it.
Before I jumped in, you were about to move on. So
No, we're done. We're
We're
done.
waiting. Let's moving on. We
Yeah.
got 2 subjects. That is on brand. We have 5, 6, 10 things lined up. We talk about 2.
That's
Yeah.
Sporking News Podcast, baby. And I have to be at work at 5 a.m. So, because my channel has 2 strikes, so I have no chance of living off of YouTube.
Hey, you know what, Scott? Your channel is under attack.
It is under attack, and I need your help. Your help to make sure I survive. Make sure you subscribe and all your friends do, and your grandmother too, because she's a beautiful woman.
if I can just say one more thing about the Andor
course you can.
stuff, is every
Oh my god!
fucking stupid.
That was a beautiful thing to say.
There it is. There it is.
In all the promotion that they've done, you know, the Imperial chick saying, you know, all the inept boys and everything that you thought about the forming of the rebellion, you're completely wrong. And the strong women that we're going to see and all this kind of stuff, we haven't even got up to any of that stuff yet. So just wait for it.
Oh, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome.
Like,
Thank you. Will.
And it, you know, if let's say they did only release one episode, how would everybody be feeling?
Nobody would watch it.
Yeah, oof,
Everybody would have, half the people would have fallen off the bandwagon, even if they released the first 2 episodes.
No, you're right. They had to release 3.
I've fallen off the wagon during this conversation.
We all have.
I'm sorry, Tom.
No, we're going to close it out there,
it's all
everybody.
good, man.
Thank you all, Tom. I love you. Thank you for always supporting my channel. Raging, thank you for coming on and just being
Can I just say
fucking
one
angry.
thing real quick about Mark, what he said before, because that was very important. I was trying to hop in there.
Something
As a father myself, this is one of the areas where our sons and our boys are being targeted, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what is most important to a young man? Respect and responsibility. And in those 2 things, that's what they're doing with this whole movement, is they're trying to make men question themselves. He's right. It's like, oh, I don't get respect anymore, so how can I get respect?
Amen.
Oh, I'll be a woman.
Yep.
Oh, I'll be a this. I'll be a that.
Yeah.
Then I'll get respect. See, that's instead of by your actions and by how you treat others and what you do for society and yourself, you know, being judged on those things like we normally are as men.
Well,
That's
all I
the
can say
problem.
is this. Don't be just a sperm donor. Be a father.
Yeah, man.
That's a problem. That's a
Right
problem.
on. Yes, sir.
You know,
And
a
it's
mother,
also
a mother is
feminine
very
girl as well.
yes.
I mean, but like at the
I think
right
it's
now,
more
like
important
sperm's going
sometimes
for
for
a lot of
girls.
money, especially
Oh,
if
yeah.
it doesn't have the jab. So you know,
There you go, brother.
Well, it's they're trying to make men women and women men in a lot of these shows and a lot of these series. And to me, the proof of that is like Galadriel fighting in you know, with the swords and that. Like I saw that clip from the most recent episode of Rings of Power, and I just couldn't help but cringe. Like,
Well, but Rhino, Guy Ladriel, I mean, this person that's supposed to be Galadriel, she's as interesting as any, I don't know, discount Ezra Miller I've ever seen.
that's as good as
Dude,
Luke Skywalker.
honestly,
Hallway.
this is the Eternals level of bad.
It's even worse, I think, and that's bad.
Yeah.
It's I can't even be mad because it's so absurd.
It's the truth, guys.
That's a
All right,
great
I
day.
really have to call it a night. Thank you, everybody, for my 3K. My channel is under attack. Make sure you tweet about it, meme about it. Legion of Memers, I love you guys, even though you don't attack me enough. Thank you guys for being on the panel. All the support through the years. I really appreciate it.
Script, do you have something to say? You raised your
Script?
hand.
No, I'm just pointing at Scott.
Oh, thank you, Script. I don't know if you guys realize it, but this is some of my favorite times of my week.
Saturday, baby.
And mostly when Matt's not here.
Yeah, well, and you know what? He was here a little bit, but then we upgraded. We got Rhino.
Sporking fucked.
I just want to thank everybody. Thank you again. If you're a new subscriber, please don't unsubscribe. We will have more Game of Thrones shorts once I beat these strikes. I appreciate everybody for coming out. This is the closest thing I have to an updated members credit list. So I thank you all. Good night, personal. My pronouns are so thank you. And thank you to Edwin.
Email and I will update the credits.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
You, the chat, you are awesome.
That's what I was just about to get to. Thank you to all the channel members. And thank you to the chat. You guys seriously, more and more every week, stick with us, and I really appreciate it. There are too many of you guys in the chat right now to name, but you know who you guys are. You're always here, always protecting my channel that's under attack. Look at that booger. I thank you all. I'm getting
I thought
out
it was
here.
a nose. I thought it was a nose ring.
It might be. That's what it is. It's a nose
There it
ring.
is. We'll go with that.
Yeah.
We're going with that.
Good night, everybody.
Not the giant booger that none of the G&G team told you were hanging out your nose.
They're
in the
assholes.
videos. It was
Roll the
so
credits.
Good night, everybody. Peace.
Bye.
Bye.
Portions of this episode were edited for time. The dump is filmed in front of a live studio audience.
Ooh.
Wow, you're using Grant's credits. I'm sad.
Well,
Promotional consideration brought to you by Mounds,
and Jergens.
Purina, Jergens, and Kleenex. Lots of Kleenex.
Pornhub. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night.
Legend.